This is the XNC Podcast, your Xbox newscast featuring Colteastwood, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, XNC Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the XNC Podcast live. Happy Hot News Monday. It's Monday. This is when we are waiting for what the big news is, what Xbox has to show, and they start off Monday with a little exclusive preview, but I am excited to have here with me a longtime friend, Zalker87 of YouTube fame. How you doing, Zalker?
Good, man. Can I just say that music you had for your intro was kind of legit? I was like, oh. Like, I'm kind of feeling this right now. That was great. And just so you know, the exclusive little previews was saved for Colt and Dealer. I didn't get to play Forza Horizon because I'm a little peasant on the side over here.
Hey, things are to come, right? You know,
yeah,
all in good time.
Well, we'll see what happens. But yeah, the preview, your video looked stunning. You and Dealer's video looked awesome with that thing. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. And yes, I'm on camera. Everybody, look at that.
Yeah, this is what Zalker looks like. This is amazing.
Right? And then somebody's like, oh, his little baby carrot head. Yeah. I'm not going to go there, right? I don't got
I've known what Zalker's looked like since mid 2018 or something like that. So for a long time.
You drew my first icon thing, right? And yeah, I had to send you a picture kind of how I looked. And you were like, got it. And you made it like in 5 minutes because you're talented. And I just sat there and was like, cool, thanks, buddy.
Well, I was waiting for you to send me a picture so I could draw it. And then I'm like, oh, no.
You're like, oh, let me save that in the save file real quick.
Let's save that. And I'll put that head onto another picture and we'll have some fun with it. No, but we go way back. So tell the audience, a lot of people know who you are because people are like, yo, it's Zalker and Zalker's a fraud and Malacca. We haven't said Malacca in forever, but tell everybody where you came from. Like, because one day you just, for me, and I won't go into a story, but for me, you just appeared one day. Dealer and I were playing Zombie Army Trilogy in Xbox Party Chat, and you just appeared one day, and you've never left. We haven't been able to get rid of you since.
They were in a party and I was like, I'm gonna stalk these guys. And I jumped in there and I was like, hey, and I just acted like they were my friends. And they were like, oh, hi, I don't know who this is. Is he your friend, Dealer? Is he your friend? I don't know who this guy. And I was like, no, I'm both of your friends. So we're just gonna play games together. And that's what we did. But no, in all reality, it was Dealer. I me and him were talking in DMs a little bit. Then we just started playing games together. And then Colt joined, Rand, everybody else we know in the community, and we just started playing a bunch of games. And it really kicked off with me and Colt in Battlefield because I'm going to tell the story. I don't care. I'm not going to cuss, though. But there's somebody that was, like, completely echoing. Like, we heard...
Oh, that's right.
We heard everybody saying something, like, 4 times. And so this guy's like, I'm not echoing. I forgot who it was. But we were like, yes, you are. And then you hear, yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And we're like, dude. So for, like, 30 minutes, we're just laughing the entire time. And then that's when it just came in and started making videos and talking and playing games together. That's the whole thing is the games. We always played games.
So what was that? Was that like summer of 2018 or something like that?
Yeah, it was summer. It was like July 2018, and we were just playing games. Then I remember we played, like you were saying, Zombie Army Trilogy, and then Odyssey.
I think it came to Game Pass that summer or something like that.
Yeah, and then Odyssey came out. I remember Odyssey.
Yeah,
everybody, because I remember I was really hyped for it, and I remember Dealer and you were kind of like, I don't know, hopefully it's not like the same. And then we all played it. And I remember we were up to like 4 a.m. going, oh, this is one of the best RPGs we've played in a long time. Did you just mess up the cap on your water? Because I'm watching you.
Flung it.
just do it on the side. You're like, screw this thing.
I'm like, I'll go pick it up. No, but I remember with Odyssey, like I was like, I don't know, they're just reskinning it like Rise Son of Rome, and then you're right. Like there was something about it. Like I saw a couple preview videos, and I was like, okay. And I never looked back. We played that. You 1,000 gamer scored it on release, like in the first couple weeks or something.
The first 3 weeks, I just no-lifed it because one, I'm Greek, so it like hit home with me. I was like, this is happening. I'm playing this whole thing, and then I was just like, I just couldn't stop playing it. It was so good, and all the cultists and everything, and I remember we were just in the party the entire time, just playing that game like crazy. Wasn't that the year Forza came out also? Forza 3?
Spider-Man, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Forza Horizon 4. Yeah, that was a good year.
That was an amazing year.
And I was just waiting for Crackdown. I was just sitting there waiting for Crackdown.
to throw thousands of hours in there with me. Yeah, we're gonna play that together. And we played Crackdown a lot together too. We had a lot of fun.
What got you into YouTube? Because you've kind of like you started a channel, and not many people can do this or have been this like fortunate, but you built a channel and you were in RDX podcast pretty soon. So you were working on consistency and quality. So like what got you going?
I just enjoyed talking games. Dealer was a big contributing factor. So were you. You guys were like, hey man, I mean, you talk pretty decently. Like, just why don't you check out making videos? And I remember I was in kind of like a low point. I graduated school, which should be a high point. But when you realize people don't give a crap about that, they care about your experience. So I was looking for a job. There's a lot going on in life. And so I turned to YouTube because, idle hands are the devil's plaything kind of thing. And so when I wasn't working or doing anything that I wanted, I was kind of just thinking too much. So I was like, I'm going to do YouTube and have fun with it. And that's what I did. I concentrated on gaming. The thing I love a lot, right? Like something that it's like our favorite hobby is to play games. So that's what I did. I just started playing games, talking about them. And then I started taking it serious around January or December, like 2018, December or January is when I was like, I'm going to actually take this serious and put a lot of effort into it. And because the people that are watching me and then RDX, I got to show them respect for even taking the time to look at my stuff, right? Like that's the whole point is like, that's something that I took with me. If one person watched it, that's enough effort for me to do anything about it. Right. So that was it. And that's where I learned the quality and learned how to edit and, put trash videos together.
just fill YouTube with, well, I mean, that's the thing. Like you were always talking when we were in chat, like we were always talking about the ins and outs of the industry and games and just like always like expressing as much knowledge as we had. And so it was a natural fit for you to create content. We got a super chat for you, Zalker. Red 13 says a $5 super chat. He says, this is just for the face reveals for Zalker. And I saw people in the chat. Zalker was doing mixer streams a couple of years ago, pretty like daily on with face on, his face on the camera. But this is like a whole different animal to get on a podcast and have your face there while you talk about news as it comes along. Also, we got Flame.
In Mixer, you have like a small little picture, right? It's just like a little thing on the corner. This one's like, here you are. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's I just started going on camera. Shoot, I don't remember what it was. Maybe around March of this year. I can't remember. But it's one thing to be on a picture. I've been guested on podcasts, but to put my face on a 4K screen has taken a lot of getting ready for it. But Flame has, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. He says, Zalker's a fraud. Sorry, had to do it. People all in tough love. People love calling us frauds. But I mean,
that's okay. Listen. That's like my go-to now. It's baby carrots, fraud. And I don't care what anybody says. It's called the pirate legend too. All right. I've been called that a couple times. So, and I was playing 2 weekends ago and I was playing Sea of Thieves 2 weeks ago. And I got to say, we got sunk. We died to a really good team. Yeah, no, like me and my buddies ran into really good teams where we almost got sunk twice. And then finally this other team that we ran into outplayed us completely. They're just like, I was like, oh, these guys are damn good. And so it was good. It was a lot of fun. And people are just like, it's Zalker. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like, cause you're famous enough if people see you out on the seas, there's like, it's that one guy that plays the heck out of the game.
Yeah.
But, well, I should reset for the audience. Thanks to the over 300 people here who are checking us out on XNC. This is the Xbox Newscast podcast. I'm the host, Colt Eastwood, and I've got here with me Zalker87 of YouTube fame on his own channel under the same name of Zalker87, and he is a longtime panel member of the RDX podcast, which is a direct competitor, which is a good friend of all of ours. Yeah, I was on RDX forever, of course. You all know that, but yeah, excellent podcast. So, yeah, Zalker, thanks for being here. And if you're listening live today, that's because you are on YouTube, on the Colt Eastwood channel. But this show goes up right after it ends on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pocket, and Apple Podcasts, and a couple other platforms that you may never heard of. But give it a Google, and you'll find the show on probably your favorite podcast. You can put the earbuds in on the next day and listen to the show. And Zalker's the same. You just won't see him on camera if you're on audio podcast. But thank you so much for checking out the show. Zalker, let's start the show because we have a bunch of topics to talk about and some stuff that people probably don't know a lot about. But I want to start off with this we didn't see it coming barn burner that Jim Ryan told Christopher Dring of Games Industry Biz that he is frustrated that their PlayStation Studio exclusive games only see 10 to 20 million people tops. Zalker, why is that?
He's frustrated because it's his job to make Sony more money, to make PlayStation more money. It's complete common sense. The technology has gone to the point where in the tech world, if you stay put, you're gone, right? Look at Borders. Look at all the things that didn't compete with, digital, books, all that stuff, music. Look at everything that's not competing. They're gone. They're forgotten. And that's exactly what Jim Ryan understands. Like, no matter what anybody wants to say, they can hate on him. Oh, he sucks. Well, no, that guy dominated Europe. Like, he did a really good job in Europe for PlayStation, and this is why he won over Sean Layden. And not to mention, Sean Layden is still not understanding like all the concepts of Game Pass and how you're going to make money doing it. It's like, how do you not understand basic math? Like, some people, like, you have to sell, like, what did he say? Game development costs way more money. So he said before, back in the day, Colt, if you remember, like 360, like selling 3 to 5 million copies of a game is a slam hit for developers. They made a lot of money from it. But now, if you have to double the budget, doesn't that mean you got to double the sales? So to make a massive profit, you need to sell 10 million. That's basic math. If you have to double the budget, you have to double the sales. Or you raise the sales, which is now $70. There's different logical things that you look through it, and now they need to reach more people. And that's what Sean Layden's basically talking about. Like, he's frustrated that, what is it? The new hashtag, Sony fan base is not enough. Or something like that. Or
hashtag whole slate is the other one,
yeah. Like, it's like, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people playing PlayStation games. There's a lot. We're part of that. We own a PS5. I've played all their exclusives this year. I played all their exclusives last year. But at the end of the day, if it was on PC, they're missing out on hundreds of millions of people, which he talked about. He said hundreds of millions, not 100 million. Like PS4 sold 100 million. He's talking about multiple things, right? Like,
what does that sound like when he says he wants to reach hundreds of millions of people?
It sounds like he wants to bring it to multiple platforms. It sounds like Epic Game Store is going to be a game, which, by the way, they've invested money in there. Sony has invested money in the Epic Game Store and Epic and all that stuff. They've invested money in Discord. So now you're going to have Discord, which is heavily tied into gaming. You can join your friends through there. You can stream games there privately with your buddies. There's a lot of stuff you could do there. This is Sony investing in a lot of the PC platforms and software that integrates well with gaming, which is Epic Game Store, Discord, all those things. So of course these games are going to be coming to, like, they already are. Days Gone, Horizon, all these games are already coming there. Uncharted, they just announced that,
Uncharted
right?
trilogy, yeah,
the Uncharted trilogy, like all those things. Like, I bought Days Gone again on PC on Steam, and I bought Horizon again because I want to play those on the PC. I do not want to play with the PlayStation controller. I just don't care. I want to play with my Xbox controller where I want to play them at the best fidelity possible.
Well, like, when you're talking about how much it costs to make a game and how they sell, like, didn't Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart sell like 1 million in the first year? 1 million copies out of 10 million PS5s? Because
that's a 10% mark, though. That's 10%, right?
And like, that's actually
that's okay.
That's actually in the high range for exclusives, is 10 to 15% of the consumer base. But one of the things that I think that Jim Ryan is talking about is that their games are so great, they shouldn't be gated to just one console. And when you were talking about Sean Layden had talked about this too, Zalker. You and I made videos in 2018, right at the end of 2018, about how Sean Layden said it's not a walled garden. But don't you feel like after 25 years of PlayStation starting up, that forever, like that was their business model is you want to play our games, you have to be right here in this little plastic box.
I think it's because of the technology. They didn't have the people in place or the infrastructure in place to expand, right? So they concentrated their developers, they concentrated their people to sit there and be like, concentrate on our software, which is the PlayStation software and the PlayStation OS. Boom. That's it. Mm-hmm. And so now, like, they've been partnered with Xbox, or Microsoft, sorry, that to get the Azure servers. They're partnering with Epic. They're partnering with a lot of things, and then they're even buying PC-centric developers. And whoever's porting these PCs over, like especially the Days Gone, their PlayStation to PC, like keep hiring those people because that port was amazing. Like I own it and I haven't played it yet, but I've seen my friend play it on the PC, and I was like, that Days Gone, and he's like, yeah. It looks stunning, like amazing, like completely different experience. The FPS alone is great, but holy cow, does the game look great on there? And even Digital Foundries talk about this. So Sony sees these sale numbers and they're like, why wouldn't we do this? We're making multiple millions of dollars extra.
Well, these some of these studios can make their own PC ports as well, like Naughty Dog and Sony Santa Monica. They can make their own PC ports. So, like, they hired Nixus, and they've got these other conglomerates that can port the games to PC, but they're also ready to do them themselves. So, Zalker, what's it looking for, like, for day and date on Steam or Epic Game Store? And add in after that, if you can remember that this many questions, do you think PlayStation will make their own PC storefront?
See, do you remember this on RDX? In 2018 or 2019 beginning, we had the same conversation, and I said that Sony's either going to make their own storefront, but it's extremely hard to do that. Blizzard took years to make theirs. Steam took years to make theirs. And Epic Game Store, if you look at it now, is taking a long time to implement it, and they have a lot of money. So I don't know if they're going to make their own. I don't know. I think they are more comfortable using Epic Game Store or Steam to put it out there because they already have the active users. Why break it up? Even Bethesda tried making their own, if you remember. Bethesda
do they still have the Bethesda launcher?
I don't even know because everything now is on the Xbox app. So Xbox and Microsoft have their own. So every Bethesda game is on there. So it's kind of like, why would you put it on there? And not to mention there's mod support. So I think that Sony's going to use someone else instead of investing the money. And I think over years, it's going. Yeah. It's just business. Like if they want to get out there faster, the biggest thing for me is going to be the PC ports. That's something they're going to have to concentrate on. And then move on to which store. That's the secondary thing. Like, all right, we got to get these to run great on PC and test them on the GPUs, CPUs, everything out there. And then we got to worry about where we're going to distribute it. And I think that's where the Epic Game Store and Steam come into play. And you know me, Colt. You know me. I love playing PC. I love playing Xbox. I like playing on PlayStation, but I'm not tied to that ecosystem. I don't care to play their exclusives on one. I don't want to buy one box just to play them. I want to play them on PC. I do. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you and I are different. Like, I've told people on shows and my show that I'll always play a PlayStation game on a PlayStation instead of on my PC. I point over here like you can see them. They're off camera. But everybody's different, right? And Phil Spencer's always like he wants to give you the choice. If you want to play them on a decent PC or your killer PC, or if you want to play them on your mom's laptop through xCloud on the browser, like you can do that. I gotta let me give this super chat real quick. Hopefully I don't lose my train of thought. Space Dovakin with his $2 super chat. Thanks, buddy. He says, "You did it, you crazy son of a gun. You did it." And I think he means I got Zalker on the show, and I got his lovely face here for you all to ogle at. But little kiss, yeah, bro. Bring it over. Bring it over
on a podcast.
So I'll throw in Hargeet Chani's amazing. I was on Fonz's show this weekend. I was on Gaz and Ace's show this weekend. They're super busy, and Hargeet is always here supporting. He's got like a bunch of knowledge. He's always talking to people about what he knows and always giving his opinion. He's a great supporter. He says, with the $10, thank you, Hargeet. He says, seems like Sony followed the Nintendo model, and it mostly worked, but they don't get the attach rate of Nintendo. So he's talking about the model of keeping them exclusive. Now I guess they'll try the way of Xbox to expand. Fits better with mature content. Yeah.
I think it's more they are realizing, like, so again, some games that have gone on Game Pass have gotten like second wins. Like, I hate to say it, but look at Marvel's Avengers. I guarantee you, Colt, I know how much you've put more time into it than I did. And Colt was like, I'm not playing that. Once it got on Game Pass, he was like, it's kind of a dry period. I'm going to check it out. 30 hours
because
later,
it had the extra content too.
Yeah,
I mean, that's another reason why. That helped.
But it just, I think that you gave it a shot, and I think a lot of other people did. I know people that have checked it out in the community that are like, "Hey, actually, this Anaconda."
I hated that game. You and I argued about it so many times. I hated it. I played all the way up to you unlock Iron Man. I played some of the strike stuff with friends, and you said how much fun it was. I'm like, I can't stand that game. There's zero fun in it. Zero. And then when it came to Game Pass and it launched me into the Black Panther content, I was like, whoa, holy crap, they've really fixed. Plus, it's optimized for Series X.
Exactly. So that's the big one.
It's no longer like this super aggressive dynamic resolution scaling with heavy frame drops. Like, it was just running really great. Shout out to the chat. We got Jez in the chat, Jez Corden of Windows Central, who gives us a £5 super chat to say Mayo. He grabs one thing and he drives people crazy with it. But
you know what I actually like? I like Mayo, so I'm okay with it.
I am a Mayo guy. I do not like Miracle Whip. Shout out to the Miracle Whip fans in the chat. If you're a Miracle Whip fan, show your love. Shout out to Gaz also in the chat. We talk to Gaz every day. He is he's the best kind of psychopath, right? We love him. I love talking to Gaz.
Gaz thinks I'm a villain, by the way, everybody, a secret villain. Yeah. Don't let him live it down. He told me this. He's like, Zalker, I feel like you're a villain, and I'm like,
give us those evil eyebrows, Zalker. Give us those evil eyebrows. I want to talk about before I get finished with the Jim Ryan thing. Since I was on these podcasts, I saw a couple of really strong, convicted PlayStation fans who said, don't brag yet, Colt. It's not day and date. They're not going to put their exclusives day and date. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Jim Ryan, for not putting our games day and date on the PC. Thank you for making us feel special. Can you give us your opinion about this? Like, please don't make it day and date.
Oh my God. Guilty pleasure right here. I went and looked at the reactions of PlayStation-centric channels and podcasts from the Uncharted going on
from the bushes,
PC.
Right?
Yeah, I'm like sitting there lurking. I'm like, let me see what y'all talking about over, because I'm a petty son of a gun like that. So I'm watching these reactions and I'm laughing. Like, it's like I'm sitting there with popcorn. I'm like, everybody called this. Are you not paying attention to what's going on in the gaming industry, that they want to expand? More people want to expand. One of the reasons why Bethesda actually signed with Xbox, because there was other suitors, we know, is because of where they can reach more people. And that is the mobile with cloud, that is Game Pass, that's PC. That's a big one. They said it. They said PC. And if you look at, once Bethesda was signed, Phil was a little more cocky. What was he saying? Game Pass will go on not closed off systems.
Yeah, and he says you don't have to double dip on the Xbox platform,
Exactly. Play Anywhere, right? Like, they've taken Play Anywhere, which was like kind of a small idea, and they were like, we're going to give you, if you buy it once, you can play it anywhere. They took that and expanded it to, if you subscribe to this, you can play completely anywhere. Free, like, that's it.
We kind of take that for granted. It's been around for 6 years? 7 years? I can't do the math. Yeah, it's been around for
since 2016, I think.
Yeah, 5 years.
2017. I don't take it for granted, man. You know me, I play everywhere. Like, some days I'm on my tablet playing on xCloud, and then I play on PC, and I play on X. I am the quintessential Xbox fan because I use all their service, everything. That's it.
Yeah, and you've been in a situation over the past couple months where you've kind of been over at this place and over at that place. So, like, wherever you go, you have access to an Xbox or a gaming PC, one of your devices. So you never get a disconnect from gaming because of Play Anywhere. And when I say we take it for granted, I guess what I realized as you were talking, that in the community, you don't hear a lot of people say, you buy one, you get both for free, or, but you have both for the price of one. You don't hear that a lot because I think people kind of forget about it, because most people spend a lot of time, more time on one platform. But this reminded me of another thing, Zalker. One of the guys actually one of the PlayStation diehards used the double dipping as a bragging point, saying, they make it so you can double dip, so you can buy it on the PlayStation, then later you can buy it on the PC. He said it like it was a good thing. Like if you buy Days Gone on the PS5 and you own it, you have to go and buy the PC version.
So he's like bragging about it, like that's how good we are. We got to.
Yeah, that's how good. Like
we got to spend 70 times two.
I think what he's saying is, and I try to think. You try to put rationale in the Pegasus Nation. You try so hard to help them.
You got to bring up the name. You got to bring up the name.
But it's funny. I'll do it on a podcast because people here on the podcast know what Pegasus Nation is. When we make our videos on YouTube, like our full video, people don't know who that is, but people here watching obviously know. But I think what he was trying to say is our games are still protected and on the PlayStation 5 because you have to buy it again over there, so it's not truly being taken away. I think that's really crazy. That's a really dumb way to look at it.
I think that's just like a dumb thing to think about and say. Why? How is that good for you as an individual? Like I don't. That makes no sense. Like I'm a little irritated that I had to buy Days Gone again and I had to buy Horizon, but you know why I did it? It's because I want the best performance on it, and I want to play those games, especially when I played Days Gone when it first launched, and it was like a 1920 slideshow in FPS. I hated it. Like, how much I hated that game, and I put 33 hours into that game because I really I take a lot of pride in what I'm saying, and I want to make sure that I'm playing these games and giving people complete feedback so they don't call me like a fraud, even though everybody still does. But I think everybody still calls me one. But like I'm just saying, man, I don't want to
a real fraud,
a real fraud, somebody that hides their gamer score and
Yeah, somebody tried to call you out a couple years ago and looked up the wrong Zalker, and you're Zalker87 on PlayStation, and like, oh, this guy does play these games. I got to give a shout out to KY Bob, who is well, I guess I was going to say XNC, but he's a Colt Eastwood channel member for a long time. He's got the Cortana cartoon picture. He says, Colt and Zalker, XNC is great, RDX is great. RDX is the best. Far Cry is a blast. We're going to talk about Far Cry in just a little bit. Yeah. Halo Infinite will own my life. Now, KY Bob and I haven't partied up in a long time. He moved jobs, and now he's a hitman, assassin for hire. Now he's he got a new job, so I haven't talked to him in a long time. He should just send me a party invite sometime, KY, because we have so much fun. We were playing. Last time we played was playing that State of Decay expansion, and one of our buddies was ruining my fort. But we won't get into that. Let's see. Let's jump into this new studios thing. Like everyone's been talking about acquisitions, Zalker. It's been driving us crazy. We get DMs. Everybody wants to know where these studio acquisitions, these publisher deals, and I think they're a long ways away. But the word test drive, you did a video about this. Can you kind of explain to the audience what you think is happening with these studio deals for Xbox since PlayStation's buying up everything that's not nailed down?
I think what's going on right now, and I've said this in my videos, I think Sony realized that Bethesda was people say it's an entire publisher, and I've always said this, it's an entire E3 conference. Xbox bought that. They just went taking that like they're like, we're just gonna take this whole thing over here. And those guys in Bethesda brought out 2 to 3 massive games a year. Like every year they brought out 2 to 3 massive AAA games. Yep. And then not to mention they partnered with a lot of people. Look at Deathloop and look at Ghostwire. They partnered. So Sony lost that completely. Can't partner up with them again. Over. Yeah. Done. You move on. And that's something that I've realized is that Sony realizes that also, and they're like, hey, what do we do now? Well, we got to invest. And I think Sony really got comfortable with giving second-party studios or third-party studios big games to work on. Look at Bloodborne. Look at Spider-Man. Look at Detroit Become Human. Look at all these games that they brought out that were third party. Demon Souls, right? That was again third party because it wasn't a first party studio. They were very comfortable with that, and I think once Xbox, because everybody don't care, so Pegasus, I don't care who the hell you are, everybody was asking for Xbox. We just want you to compete more and get games. Well, they are now, and I think it shook a lot of the foundation in gaming in general. And so every studio, every publisher, EA's buying. They bought Codemasters, remember, for like almost $1 billion. They bought like a bunch of studios were being bought up because talent is key and content is key, and that's what they're going to be competing with is content. So Xbox is locking down a lot of third-party studios, much like Sony did, So Xbox couldn't work with them, right? They couldn't work with From Software. They couldn't work with Insomniac Games after Sunset Overdrive because Sony locked them down for several years. So Crystal Dynamics is locked down. Sony's not getting the game from them for at least 3 to 4 years. If you look at IO Interactive, like that whole rumored with Project Dragon, locked down again. And then if you look at, what's the other one? Avalanche Studios with Contraband, locked down another third party. And it's these things where they're going to be seen if they fit the culture well. Now, most people think it's Crystal Dynamics, and I get it because of Daryl Gallagher. But to me, I think the thing that they're going to look at the most is Avalanche Studios, because Avalanche not only works with Xbox now, but they're also worked with Bethesda on Rage 2, and they had a great relationship. Like, so I think Avalanche is the biggest one that they're looking at and might happen. I don't know.
It is like the most likely one for them to pick up. Yeah, and I know everybody wants to see them bought, but like you're getting into this explanation of that Xbox doesn't want to just like say, hey, we'd like to work with you and buy you, you know, because they've worked with PlayStation's worked with studios and had a good working relationship and put out games that are really highly rated and some that kind of missed, like Order 1886 and stuff like that. They've had these other games that haven't done super well, but they haven't had problems. Xbox has worked with a couple studios where the development situation was not a good fit. Like Sumo Digital, who works with PlayStation a lot, made Crackdown. That was a terrible ordeal they went through. And maybe they didn't get along with Remedy as far as wanting to pick them up.
The biggest one you're not mentioning, come on, Scalebound.
Oh, of course.
That one is like the most egregious one where it was like 4-year development. Xbox lost a lot of money. And it's something that I think really hurt them. And I think that's why they're concentrating on getting studios they trust the leadership at.
Yeah.
And that's something that they trust Todd Howard, Pete Hines, all those guys. Like, come on, man. id Tech, like what? Like, of course they're going to go there, but now they're looking at other studios that have done good work and that they've worked with before. Like, I don't know if you saw the new report. Was it 2 days ago, 3 days ago, or yesterday even? IO Interactive had their best year by far financially. Everybody thought Hitman 3 didn't sell well. It sold like 300-something% above what they thought it was going to sell.
Wow.
Like, it did really well. And so now their whole thing that they had with their stockholders was they're going to bring more content to Hitman 3 now. They're working on an unknown project. And they're building another studio. Like, that is, like, if that's not indication,
that's healthy.
If that's healthy growth, right? Like, that's good. And Hitman, if you guys remember, the Hitman series, I think, was on Game Pass for a while. And I think the first and second one were, but one of them. But that's, again, growth, and you see Xbox is working with them, flooding them with money to make something because Hitman did well, and it was very well received. I think Rand really liked that game. Rand
loves the Hitman. So he played through all the content. You could, I think if you own some of the other editions, you could play through like pretty much the whole main series, and he did that last year or this year. One of the things that we need to remind the audience or anyone who's wondering about these acquisitions, Zalker, is that when you said that it got PlayStation moving, that they needed to go buy studios because Xbox had just acquired like a massive conglomerate, what we have to remind people is that right now, Xbox has more games than PlayStation in the roadmap. Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, they have like, well, actually, didn't Sony have like about 12, 13 studios? They've bought 5 this year.
They're up. I haven't even counted, but they were down to 11 before they did this condensing with fabrics and
I think they've added like 300 to 400 developers.
They're probably at 17 versus Xbox's 23. But looking at the roadmap with even with all these deals that both of them are striking, I think Xbox comes out on top as having more games in the pipeline. And it's one of the reasons that like Sacred Symbols and Colin Moriarty's team were talking a couple months ago about how they're worried that Xbox has shown this great, strong foot forward. And PlayStation was kind of like, hey, we got Ratchet and we've got Kena Bridge of Spirits this year. They had more stuff than that. But they were, and Returnal, like they were a little bit worried for what was coming in 2021. But that's looking a lot better.
2021's been a down year for me for Sony. Like I bought them all. Returnal was a $70 L. I just did not enjoy the setting. I did not enjoy the game that much. I know it was technically great. I know the gameplay was awesome. I've played it. fun here and there, but I just was like, I got to be in the mood for this. Like Hades is a 10 times better game and roguelite. Like,
I've heard that many times.
Hades is amazing. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was great. Was it $70 great? No, I beat that game. You can go look at my thing and make sure you look up the right name. And then Deathloop, I haven't played because I'm just gonna wait for it to come on Game Pass in a year. And there's so many other games to play. But if you look at like Psychonauts, The Ascent, Forza Horizon 5, Age of Empires, Flight Sim. I mean, the Age of Empires 4 is something I'm looking forward to because I love RTSs. And then you look at Halo. The rest of this year, like, what did you get? Ghost of Tsushima directors, fine, and director of Death Stranding.
Director's cut.
That's fine. And Deathloop is probably their biggest game coming out this year, and it's an Xbox Studio game. Like, that is like, what's going on? And don't get me wrong.
Well, I mean, Xbox Game Studios has already proven that we know that now because almost all those games you mentioned are really highly received. Except for The Ascent, but I love The Ascent. The Ascent had a bunch of bugs.
I loved it
too. We're going to get into that as well. Zalker and I want to talk a little bit later in the show about how you have to land your game at release with your best foot forward. We're going to talk about that because there are some big games that are coming out that have had this controversy, as my UK friends would say. I got a couple super chats that touch on this this thing with Jim Ryan, worried about being constrained down, the whole slate thing. We got, well, first of all, Ashtray Gaming, a good friend of ours from Australia. He says, great show, guys. New metric, first to 1 billion users. I think if everybody, I think if PlayStation and Xbox both go cloud, PC, full stop, like you can play as long as you buy from our store. I think PlayStation might be the first one to 1 billion users. Like they would help.
PlayStation will be to get to 1 billion. I'm thinking you need to have your own store and you need to be on TVs. So TV app comes up right away.
Well, do you think PlayStation would do all this stuff Xbox is doing? They do copy Xbox, but not everything.
No, they don't. I don't think PlayStation would be the first one because one, they're not even on the mobile app yet. Like they have a mobile app to reach their game, but like and see their ecosystem, but they don't have a Game Pass on there, right? You can't play on your mobile app yet.
Can't even look at my screenshots on the mobile app on the PlayStation. And you know me, like I do a lot of communicating with followers and with the gaming community by sharing screenshots of cool things I do in games, and I have to pull it onto a thumb drive and put it on my computer and move it to. It's like this. Come on.
Every time I see a screenshot of you, like you put a game screenshot, like I feel like you're Christopher Nolan with like a scarf on, and you're like just taking the picture in photo mode. You're like, this is what I want. Look at the contrast. This is amazing.
My screenshot. Remind me to talk about screenshots for Forza. We're gonna get into that in a minute too, but
right. But you take some of the best screenshots. I'm looking at it and I'm like, God damn, Colt. Like, I'm taking one like crappy one on the side.
I just try to use photo composition to make them look nice because games look amazing. Like when we're playing, how often are you playing a game and you're like, dang, this looks so good, but you just keep playing? Sometimes I like to stop in launch photo mode, and dealer's like, would you just? Sometimes we deal in our co-op games, like, would you just play the game? And so we got Kylo Ren. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He says Jim Ryan is trying to get the Sony fan base to a place where there won't be a firestorm on Twitter like there was when they announced Horizon Zero Dawn coming to PC. I remember that, and our our good friend Randall Thor is crazy. He predicted from some little birdie told him that Horizon Zero Dawn was coming to PC like 2 years ago. Boy, did he get called every name under the sun.
He got called every name, and then he was like, I'm not an insider. And then it got announced. He's like, I called it. I'm an insider. I was like, Rand, whoa. Relax,
Rand's like, which one of y'all call me an insider?
Which one of y'all call
Risk it for the biscuit. Thanks for the Australian $7.99. He says, it's the most ridiculous view to have. PlayStation peeps should be happy that PC peasants have a chance to play, quote, the best games ever made. And then he says, Gaz from Game On Daily has false teeth. Now, come on now. Give him a couple months, and Gaz is going to be a supermodel. But
he has false teeth. Like what?
So let's talk about. We started to get into the broken games, not putting your best foot forward. This morning, Skill Up on YouTube, who's got I think 600,000, maybe he might have close to 1 million. think he's at like 600,000 subscribers. He's an Australian content creator, and he talked about his stance is that Battlefield 2042 needs to be delayed from the way he sees it. He doesn't believe that Battlefield 2042 beta is an 8-month-old build. Zalker87 has a very different opinion. I'm going to let you take the floor on this, Zalker, and tell the people what your experience is with this game and your $6,000 PC.
First of all, sir, yes, it was. But no, honestly, I had a blast playing that game. The first thing that came to mind was Halo Infinite. When I played that multiplayer with you guys, I played it on the Series X and PC because I love testing both because that's where I'm going to play dominantly on. And it ran amazing on the Series X and it ran amazing on the PC. That's where I was really, because Halo hasn't really launched on a PC before. So when I was like, I need to make sure this runs great. So I thought the tech test was amazing. I thought it did well for 343, and I think it really brought goodwill back to fans for Halo. 2042, I knew it was going to get hate no matter what, because one, it doesn't have a campaign, and people last time, Battlefield, like, let's be honest here, Colt, Battlefield 5 made people's YouTube channels. They went from like 10,000 subs to like 300,000 because Battlefield 5 was so bad, people it was the trend to hate it. And the developer was like, if you don't like it, don't buy it, blah, blah, blah. But 2042 on the PC and Series X for me was awesome. The only thing that was a little janky and kind of out of place was the vehicles sometimes glitched. And I saw that twice. But other than that, it ran flawless for me. It ran flawless. Like, I was having so much fun to the point where I was like, this is going to be the biggest competitor to Halo Infinite multiplayer, bar none. Campaign-wise, Halo's going to kill it, obviously, because Battlefield doesn't have one. COD, people are not really excited for it because of the genre, even though I am, and I love the World War II genre. But, man, Battlefield 2042 was great. Like, I didn't run into these game-breaking bugs that everybody else was talking about. And I played that game not once, not twice. I played it for, like, I think when it first came out beta, I played it for, like, 4 hours. And then I played it again for, like, another, like, 3 hours on the Series X. And then I played it again with my buddies in parties multiple times on the PC, and then Series X again. So I don't understand. Like, I was trying to like find these bugs, and the only ones I saw were the vehicle ones. Did you run into any bugs when you were playing it?
Yeah, I did. I'm actually trying to grab some footage. Here we go. Trying to find a long one here. Let's do this one. I don't know how well this will run, but I'll let this play while we are. Let's mute it. So. One more button. Let me just work all of the amazing buttons there. There we go. I think that
we're cut off center.
Fix it, Colt. It's right here. It's right here. Okay, so anyway, I will check and make sure if this gets really bumpy, which I think it might. I'll turn it off. But yeah, I played a couple matches with Dealer. I played by myself. I played with Chris Grinnell, and I got glitches where I would aim into a scope, and I would see huge polygon textures popping in and covering like the entire screen. I had one when I was inside the gun. It might be on this recording while Dealer's driving the tank, where the camera would shift like this back and forth. There was some pop-in stuff. The frame rate hitched a little bit, but I don't know. Like, I just saw the helicopter on the footage. It was kind of doing a zigzag pattern up in the sky. So there's a lot going on. Like, this does so much more than Halo Infinite, and it has just a really cool look. But if this game is like, how old is this build, Zalker?
I mean, from what the developer said, it is an 8-month build. They said it's pretty much from the beginning of this year. And, you know, as somebody that has done software development, like the Battlefield people came out and talked about this. They said like, hey, this is an 8-month build because in development, you work off of branches, which is what GitHub does. It gives you something that you put to a main repository, but you break off to test things. And to build a beta, it takes a long time. And he's talked about this. And I was talking to Colt today because we're in parties all the time because we're obsessed with each other. We were talking about we were talking about like how this game, like in software, the developer said after BF5 and a lot of stuff is that there's a lot of toxic people that don't want the game to succeed, or they just personally attack the developer and don't give any constructive feedback to how to make the game better. And so they really just cater to people that actually give them feedback. like constructive feedback. Like, hey, game's cool, but this part was game breaking. Didn't like it. Move on. So that's the whole point, and that's something that Halo is doing, right, with the tech test. They're ignoring a lot of the people that are hating on it, and talking to the people like Colt, or talking to people like me, or talking to people that play the game and actually want it to succeed, and giving them constructive feedback. Now, this game, I'm watching your gameplay. I don't see a lot of things going on glitch-wise. Maybe I'm not feeling it because you need to feel it. It's very interactive. That's what gaming is. But what other game is doing this right now? Like,
it's got destructible environments. It's photorealistic in a lot of ways. Like it's close to photorealistic. It's a great looking game. To me, it looks like Battlefield 5, but you've got like you're in a modern setting. So this guy's about to pull me out of the tank. I think I was driving this tank because dealer said you take the tank controls because I was getting that camera glitch that a lot of people were getting. Yeah, I mean, I didn't go onto social media and complain about all the bugs, but like some things just didn't seem super polished. And of course, my first reaction is like, "Hey, DICE, it's okay to delay the game if you feel like you're going to be under the gun, because so many times we are excited to play a game, we don't want to wait any longer, and then we sit and wait for 2 weeks or a month for them to iron out the bugs, and maybe we've moved on by the time it gets smoothed out." Like I've heard that so many times. Oh, it's much better now, but you're playing a different game.
And I get it, but there's also like, this is just one mode. We didn't see the portal mode. We didn't see the hazard zone mode or whatever that thing is called. This game, for what it is, it gives you a lot of it gives you a lot of content. I hate people like, I get it. Like,
I'm
if
gonna
there's
get another
bugs
one on here in a second.
Yeah, if there's bugs, like, delay the game. I'm always
Yeah.
for delaying games. I don't care. Like, I'm one of the people that wants Halo delayed because I want co-op. That's a big part of Halo for me, is playing with my friends, playing the campaign and enjoying that with my friends. But again, this game I had a great time with, and I get they're bringing up Skill Up. They're bringing up a bunch of people complaining about it, and hey, they're valid. Like when Skill Up talked about the Dungeons and Dragons game with the Jurist game that I played. Remember I played that? He was valid in a lot of things he said. The AI was terrible. There was a lot of bugs, but I still enjoyed the game. I played it. I played through the whole thing with my buddies, and we had a blast playing it. But I still understand that there was things that he saw that I saw that was like, hey, man, maybe they should have, given it another couple months in the oven. Now, this game, I didn't see a lot of these bad things that everybody was talking about. I saw some glitches with vehicles, and I saw, a couple of my buddies had the same glitches. But overall, I was having a blast with it. I thought the gunplay was better than Battlefield 5 and all the other Battlefields. The destructible environment was insane. Like you were just watching this, like, look at this, what other game gives you that? Like, that's so cool. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I am a Battlefield like fanboy. I love it. I love Battlefield more than I do like COD. And to me, I think it's still going to be one of the biggest games to come out this year, and it's going to be a competitor with any FPS out there. That's just my take. I know, like, I was getting into, because there was like 128 people in each level. I was instant queuing, and this is a beta. Like, I wasn't like waiting to get in the game. It was like instant.
Oh yeah, there was no matchmaking problems.
Nothing.
There was no crashes to look at the dealer. I'm like, nah, when our bodies came down.
I saw you guys flying around, just got shot down. I was like, oh
yeah. He had me running like the turret on that jet, and I was like, getting nauseous looking at the ground while he's really good at flying those things. But yeah, I mean, what's your stance, Zalker? Like, you obviously don't think Battlefield needs to be delayed, because from what you played, it looks like it's salvageable, like some of the little minor things. But what's your stance on games when they're broken? Because I feel like the community, they talk like that they're okay with delays, but I feel like they're really not okay with delays.
See, now this is where it's weird. People see this game and they're not invested in it. They're kind of like, just delay it. It's no big deal. But when it's Halo, like the co-op, holy cow, how much hate did we get as Xbox guys?
Yeah.
How much hate did guys? I think I got a lot of hate because I was saying like, hey man, delay this game. I want to play it with my friends. I don't want to play it solo. I want to enjoy it with my buddies. And I think that this game, like, if it's broken and there's this much, like, if it launches and I can see all those issues come up again, or if like the issues that people brought up, if I experience them and other people have, and it's a very known issue, then yeah, delay the game. Even if my experience is perfect, and if it's the majority of the people see this like bad quality and stuff like that, hey, delay it. I'm fine with waiting. Like, just because my experience is better doesn't mean that everybody else is. I'm not like that selfish to the point of, yeah, just delay the game then. If it needs a delay, take the extra time, but don't delay it for like a week. Don't delay it for a month. Delay it for like 5 months. Because remember, Joe, who did Song of Iron, he said the worst thing you could do is delay a game for a month because you're already crunched on something and kind of cut corners to get something done. So,
a month is never good enough. Like I feel like Battlefield couldn't. And thanks, chat for and those watching for bearing with me as I try and get this footage like queued up. This is kind of something I decided to do while we're talking about it. But like I don't think you can delay Battlefield 2042 and still make 2021.
No,
right?
you wouldn't. No, you'd bring it out like at 2042 at this point, right? Like that's the whole. Like
I think they'd be better off if they were going to delay it. They'd have to move it to next holiday, and I think that's a really tough sell for the publisher. The publisher really can be really difficult to work with when they're waiting to get return on investment. But I wish I could just help the developers or the publishers understand that they might make a little more money if the game comes out a lot better. So,
yeah, but it's also a pretty massive game, man. Like this has been in development for 3 years now, 3.5, and we haven't had a Battlefield since the Battlefield 5. So I don't know, man. Like to me, I think they're just going to release it. They already delayed it, and I think it was more for like their networking. I don't think it was for the game. Yeah. I think that this game, if it is an older build, hey, then I believe you. But if it comes out again, if all these bugs come out in November and it bites you in the butt, then people know they can't trust you. Yeah, and they, like Cyberpunk, right? It runs great, surprisingly amazing on the PS4 and Xbox One. Yeah, it was surprisingly terrible.
Yeah. One thing that's funny, I tried to queue up the next one and it just went crazy, but let me see.
Glitches today!
Glitches delay the show!
Delay XNC, God.
Yeah, that's weird. Let's try it again. Yeah, it just it's freaking out. Let me go back to regular.
You have a bunch of super chats, buddy. You want me to read some of these for you?
Yeah, I mean, if you could see one, you can read one. I'll get us back to normal.
Roman G, member for 4 months. Colt, out here having people graduate in YouTube to next level. Great to finally see Zalker now. We need Dealer to show his mug. You don't want Dealer to show his mug. Nobody wants to go blind. Nobody.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Risk It for the Biscuit with the Australian $8 super chat. We're going to talk about a big Xbox game here in a second. He says, I'm a big Battlefield player. Check my stats. I won't creep on your stats. I'm going to trust you on that one. But he says, I want it delayed. It could be such an amazing game, but some design choices in the glitching is holding it back. And Predator H2O, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. He said, loved Battlefield 2042, PC and Xbox Series X, 20 hours plus total. He has on the beta. It says glitches with the hybrid scope. Yeah. Stuttering in vehicles. Yep, I had that. Shooting down vehicles was difficult. They were OP. Fixable, but I don't want them to delay it. So there really are people who
told you. I have like 15 hours in that beta, man. Like, and I was like, listen, if you're having a good time, sometimes, like, do you remember when you're like a kid, if you're just enjoying a game and there was a glitch, you're kind of like, work around it, right? Like, unless it like completely broke your game. Like this, I ran into like some vehicle glitches, but I never was just like, I'm done. I can't play this. I just was like, all right, well, that was weird, but moving on. For the next hour, I didn't see glitches. I was taking out freaking helicopters, jumping off, flying off things. Like, no other game gives me that experience that Battlefield's giving me right now. Go ahead, you can read the next. There's a bunch, man.
Yeah. I was going to, there we go. We got 108 Dragon, or Lemon. I call him Lemon. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Look at that. He's got such a cool profile picture. He says, it's a beta, and judging no game comes out without needing a fix. The game is fine. Where that smoke for Call of Duty, it was completely broken. I remember that. Like Call of Duty Vanguard, people were putting up, it was unplayable. That was not the case with Battlefield 2049. When they stopped giving us betas, blame us. It's not done. They said it. So do you feel like developers are afraid to have betas because the backlash they get? Because you were talking earlier about how DICE doesn't even want to talk to the majority of the community because they're so acidic about it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of developers don't like showing like their gameplay. There's very few. If you look at Bethesda shows gameplay always before a couple months before, right? Sony shows gameplay a couple months before, or even like a year before, a year and a half. There's very few developers that show gameplay because they don't want it to get the comparison thing. They don't want all this stuff and that happening to it. And I'm like, hey man, no excuses. Show it. If you got it, flaunt it, right? And to games that are online centric like Battlefield, you need a beta. Sorry, you need the tech test, the flighting, the beta. You need that to stress test not only the game but your servers. That's the biggest obstacle during online games. It's not like, oh, the game's glitched. It's usually like, I can't get on because it's dead. Like look at Gears 5. They didn't have a lot of glitches in Gears 5. What glitched was the servers. Like that's what glitched. That's what messed up everything. You disconnect in a co-op game. You disconnect multiplayer horde mode. It affected the game's reviews. I know that for like Gears 5 is amazing. One of the best, if not the best Gears I've ever played. But again, can't do that if your servers aren't ready.
Yeah, I know they're making good money in the gaming business and they got to get it right. But you know, when you're a creator, like I'm doing this show right now and I'm trying to queue up video and stuff's not going right. Like I feel the pain. Imagine what all those developers are going through when they're to bring a beta or an alpha to the masses. It's got to be like a nail biter. And I love the gaming community, but we are so brutal. We bite the hand that feeds us. But at the same time, some of us are really good at lighting a fire under the developers and getting a great product and getting them to round the corners and get everything ready to rock. And when you talk about DICE wanting to get that constructive feedback, the same thing that the Halo Infinite team said at 343 about they want constructive criticism, because somebody on Twitter like a month ago said, look, all our complaining did the deal, the game looks better. And the head of 343 or the head of communications said, no, we don't listen. And I've said that for you and I've said this for years, that those whiners and those griefers and those harassers and the memers, like they get muted and blocked by the industry. So their voices aren't heard.
If you made fun of like Craig's face, or if you just criticize things just to criticize it, people are going to ignore you. But if you say, hey, like if you look at, you were on RDX at the time, when you look at all the criticisms we gave Halo Infinite, it wasn't like, you're stupid. It was just like, hey, these are the problems we see. You need to start addressing these. And it was like almost verbatim. Everything they enhanced is the things we complained about. So I'm not saying it like as a clout chaser, like, oh, they listen to us. No, we're just giving constructive criticism to something they know we love. And that's the thing. That's the difference. That's the difference. Is that some people don't care about something, but they just want to criticize it for no reason. Most people talk about, a platform they hate more than they play games on a platform they love.
Oh, that drives me crazy.
It irritates me because we're on Xbox all the time. We're on Xbox talking all the time, Xbox chat, we're playing games. Like there's a reason why my gamer score is so high. It's not because of just like small game. It's because I'm playing always. Like I just love playing. So I'm playing on my tablet, I'm playing PC, I'm playing. The ecosystem is there for me. And that's like, when you find people like that, there you go.
Yeah, that's why I don't talk about Nintendo very often, because I talk about the things that I'm enjoying. I don't spend any time on a Nintendo console. But right now you're looking at I'm using StreamYard, and so it kind of has to kind of work with the buffering. So it's not super high quality, but I'll work that into the channel later on. That's like there's a whole bunch of stuff I'll do behind the scenes. But this is Forza Horizon 5. These are some of the extended clips that I didn't show on a video. If you didn't know, this morning at 6 a.m. there was embargo lifted for previews for Forza Horizon 5. Dealer and I both put out production videos at 6 a.m. my time in the Pacific Coast, and for him it was like 8 where he is in the U.S. So we put out our thoughts and impressions of the game. This is a game that we already know is completely polished. It looks incredible. I got to start off with a little bit of fun here. I shared some screenshots as well as my video and a couple little clips on Twitter. And some, we'll call him a diehard PlayStation fan, said that the game looked blurry. I have this pristine, high-quality gameplay screenshot of this of this Camaro or
Oh
of
god,
this
I know
Corvette.
exactly where you're going. I was like, where's he going
Yeah.
with this? And then it just
So,
it,
like,
ding. I was like, oh
ding,
god.
you got to deal with some of these people who, like you were just saying, Zalker, like they're not enjoying their platform. They'd rather talk about somebody else's platform. But Zalker, 2021, especially the second half, ever since Flight Sim came out and Death's Door, like Xbox owns 2021. I think they have owned the year when they were really the underdog for the year. Have you seen this change?
I thought Xbox has owned a lot of things. I think Xbox owns diversity in their genres and games. I think Xbox owns a lot of the, like now with like especially Bethesda, a lot of talent out there. They own RPGs completely. Once those start dropping, it's going to be, especially like now with the whole Redfall maybe being like a Borderlands-esque game. That's insane. Yeah. But the number one thing, and I'm gonna harp on this, is I think Xbox, actually I know Xbox completely owns racing. That's it. I'm sorry.
Yes, of course.
Forza Horizon is something that Xbox will shout from the rooftops till the end of time, because Playground Games, like you said, this game is polished. This game is great. Every Forza you play, the only criticism that people have is like, well, maybe they do something different. Like, I don't know. But like, you never sit there and go like, hey, this is really bad. This is done really badly. I don't like, no. They Forza Horizon 5 or Forza Horizon 4 and 3, they are the best racing games I've ever played, and I don't play a lot of them. I play here and there. I'm not a biggest racing fan, but the arcade way of doing this, it's so much fun. We just throw hours into this game. Like when this game first released in 2018, 4 at least, I played that like crazy. And Gran Turismo is not competing with Motorsports, and nothing on the market is competing with Forza Horizon. I'm sorry to say it. This is something that Xbox understands and knows and invests a lot of talent and money in. And I'm glad, because every reception that I've seen, not one person criticized this game. They're like, it's stunning.
Yeah.
It's stunning. And it wasn't just like, I understand what you're saying, kind of like, you and Dealer have talked about this. You've played so much Forza that you're kind of like, man, this is Forza. And you kind of said it in your video. You said, is this Forza 4.5? But the tech behind it is great. The draw distance is a lot better. They've talked about that. The Xbox One experience is actually different than the Series X experience. I was reading some of the developers, what they said. They've said that the game on the Series X has way better detail from draw distance compared to the Xbox One. And there's a lot of stuff they had to revamp their rendering, their shadows, everything. So I'm super excited for this. I can't wait to play it, even though I wasn't privileged enough to play it like these hot shots over here. And all these guys.
I mean, I actually cut this out of my video, my preview this morning, but I wouldn't count it. I have over 600 hours in Horizon 1, 2, 3, and 4 with the expansions. And that's a lot of time of racing. It's a game I load up every week. I got to get.
Can I make fun of you and Rand for a second? You guys got like an argument of who played more. You guys put it.
Oh yeah.
You guys were like, hold on. I think I got more time in the Forza. You're like, no, you don't. And Cole listed off the first hours of 4, and Rand was like, never mind.
Like Rand said, it goes because I was talking about, because we're gonna get into. There's a lot to talk about with Forza, but we also kind of want to get into like the franchise fatigue because it's a real concern for a lot of people in a lot of games, but. Ram was like, I think I know more about Forza Horizon than you do. I'm like, Rand, I probably have double the amount of hours you do. He's like, no way. And then he got into like, I think once he got to 3, I had already, way past me. He's like, oh, okay, I won't even count 4. Rand and I are like super competitious about stuff like that. I've got a way back from Yodani Kazada who sent a super chat about 20 minutes ago, but he said he covered this subject pretty well. Thank you for the $5. He said, I know we are tired of acquisition season, as he wrote it, but do you guys think that instead of buying studios and publishers, platform holders could just buy IP?
That's actually been something that's been going around. Do you remember, Colt, like the WB thing? Like that was a big hold off the IP, Batman and the DC, and and it's not just DC. Like you got to think about Lord of the Rings. You got to think about Harry Potter. There's a lot of IP within that WB. So I don't know if they can. You can't buy IP. You can rent it. No one's gonna give like after what happened with Spider-Man and Sony and Marvel, they're not gonna sell their IP to you exclusively. Not going to happen anymore. They're losing way too much money. I like this has been reported in the movie industry and every media industry that Disney really hates having to talk to Sony before doing anything with Spider-Man. Like they despise it.
I am sure. I am so sure.
Despise it that they have to do that. Like they despise it. Like Disney's gonna own the world anyways, right? Like that they own everything else, but not Spider-Man. And so they're sitting there, they're like, son of a. So I'm
so
just saying,
is renting the right word? I've never heard that. I know you're kind of being colloquial about it, but it's like just lending you permission for like certain products is kind of what they do.
Pitch a game, right? It's you're the pitch, they're the customer. So if they own the IP, you pitch a game like I want to make a game with your character. This
like Battlefield or like Battletoads. Like I was like, what? D-La-La Studios? Like who are they? And I met the people at E3 in 2019. There's 4 of them. And so I just thought the conversation was, hey, can we use your IP? Can we use Battletoads to make a game? And Microsoft's like, sure, have at it. We're not doing anything with it. So, that's like the two different scenarios.
And that's what they did with Star Wars, right? They went and probably pitched a game. Machine Games probably thought of Indiana Jones and was like, hey, this is what we have, Lucas Games. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure they get memos like, hey, we're shopping this out. We have IPs open. Does anybody have an idea? And it's a symbiotic relationship. And that's what I think is happening. Yeah. I don't know if you could buy IPs. I think the best thing you can do is create your own. Create your own IP. Like, what was it? Naughty Dog said the hardest thing you could do, the developer said, is create a new IP because it's so unknown. You don't know what's going to mesh well, and it's hard to be that creative for that long.
I just watch TV more than anything, like because we watch a lot of stuff on. We watch a lot of stuff on streaming services that have these like exclusives, right?
Yep.
And I see some of these great. If I named the names, like we'd start a whole conversation about TV shows, but I see these great new IPs that become like a 1 or 3 season franchise that are absolutely amazing. And as a content creator about Xbox, I sit there and watch these shows with my kid or with my family, and I'm like, why can't Xbox come up with this concept? Like, there was one show that was a family of young kids that were raised with special powers, and they end up having to save the world somehow. And I thought, this is such a great concept. Like, why aren't these being made? Like, where's this as a game? Like, this could become so huge.
It's pitched. It's the creative people. It's not like
they're
Netflix.
So talented.
Yeah, well, it's not just Netflix. It's not Hulu. These people that are creative go there. Like, Why the Last Man?
Donnie's got me. He knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like there's a new show on Hulu called Why the Last Man. That's a comic book by Brian K. Vaughan. I've read it.
Okay.
It's a great thing, but that's what I'm saying. They went and got these IPs, talked to the creators, and took them, and then they have creative people that know how to make a show, know how to make a movie, put them together. And that's like Squid Game, right? Like another one. Like it's something that's
Squid
been
Game.
around.
I want to talk. I wish I could talk about it forever, but yeah.
That show is so good. But like people like that was denied, I think even by Netflix for like 10 years. So like these creative people have it, they have this idea, it's just about execution, right? Like didn't what was his name? The guy that created oh my god, I forgot his name. The guy that created Gears, not created, but was one of the creative people. He's not
Cliff Bleszinski.
Bleszinski, thank you.
Yeah.
He had like a game of like zombies on dragons. And he showed all these concepts that he had, and he posted them on Twitter with artwork and all that, and it was really cool. And it was like, whoa, like that's
and nobody wanted it.
And nobody wanted it. And he was like, I just needed about, what was it? Like he said, $25 million to make this back then. And nobody wanted it. That's an investment, right? You have to pitch your game, that you need to have creative people. They need to know how you're going to make it, who you're going to make it with, and who's your leadership to do that, and the studio. So I think that's the problem. I think Bethesda cultivates new IP very well. So hopefully that kind of rubs off on Xbox, because I think they do need a new IP that's insanely popular.
Yeah, they really do. I'm trying to keep up with the chat's so amazing. You've got some super chats. You guys have some really good comments. I'm trying to keep those like folded into what Zalker and I are talking about. But I gotta give a shout out to Punky Dish, who's been a longtime friend. I created his logo. I owe this guy. I gotta. Punky, I'm gonna get to you. He wants me to kind of revamp it and put some change the colors around. He kind of got me during E3, but you got to remind me again. Just send me another message. Like, just send me another DM. Say, hey, don't say, Colt, sorry to bother you, because I owe you. He says, much love for both of you guys. Love the show. And 108 Dragon with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much, buddy, again. Mr. Lemon. He says, it's called server load. When a game drops, everyone rushes to play online. Every major game gets this. But it's like buying an Xbox Series X and everyone's trying to add it to the shopping cart. Be patient. So 108 Dragon is on the side where like he knows where the problems is and where the problems are. We need to be patient. We really need to find a middle ground. When I look at Call of Duty Vanguard, the way that beta did, and the versus Battlefield, I can easily say Battlefield is in a much better place. Those two teams deliver. Like you said, Zalker, it's that server load that is really difficult to manage when a game gets bombarded with people.
I think it's more. I think it's more focusing, right? Like, like Battlefield focused on multiplayer, so they're making sure their multiplayer is ready. They're making sure their online servers are ready. Call of Duty focused on multiplayer, but it also has a campaign, and so does Halo. Mm-hmm. So I think it's teams focusing on different things. Trust me, if it gets delayed, it gets delayed. But I think that they're focusing on different things. Each studio, each developer is focusing on completely different things. Battlefield knows that it's all online, nothing else. So they have to stress test this in their beta, and they did. And I thought it held up very well. I didn't have any connection issues. I didn't have.
I got right in. Yeah, I got right in.
Like Warzone games for me, they still freeze. Servers just disconnect, and I'm like, cool, thanks guys. Like I'm moving on. I'm just so irritated. I'm like, this is great.
I forgot about Warzone. Oh my gosh. It's very popular. I got to highlight Ace Out Gamer. Thank you so much for the $5 super. He says, when I was talking about how blurry that my screenshot looks, supposedly Forza Horizon, he says he must be talking about, and then insert a vitriol person that makes fun of Xbox a lot. I won't say the name, and I won't say the name who it really was, but you guys probably read it, and it's all in good fun. It's like, don't be so cranky. Like, just enjoy things. I see so many of these people that they expel so much energy talking about what they don't like. Like, I don't even know what to say.
Love to complain, man. People love to complain.
I spent $40 on a PlayStation game a couple weeks ago, and I've played a little bit. I'm not loving it, but I say something to you guys once or twice. Like, I think I've said to you once or twice, like, man, I took a $40 L on that game. I'm not loving it. Are you talking
about Kena Bridge of Spirits?
I said we don't say name. No. I really was looking forward to it. I'll eventually get back to it, but right now when you have more compelling things to play, I'm not loving it. I'm not going to talk about it. I don't know. Maybe it just makes me mature. But then I like to get a little messy. Did you see my little Squid Game?
That was a little messy right there. Saying I think I'm just mature. Look at you. You.
That's
messy,
super messy. Like in the bushes. But
in the bushes,
did you see my little meme
you shaved those bushes.
of player number 1 from Squid Game where he's sitting by himself when he didn't get picked, and I put Jim Ryan's face and I said Jim Ryan's frustrated that he can't bring his games to more platforms. People get so mad at that stuff, but like people don't know, like I really like Jim. And you and I've liked Jim Ryan because he came out the gate like, hey, let's open up this gated platform. Let's make it bigger. Let's give people more options.
He came out the gate saying he came out the gate saying he believes in generations. And he did come out with that. He flipped it, and he was like, JK. Just, hold on. Let me go back on that. Give me 2 minutes. I think people take it too serious. And I do think that sometimes, like some people, they joke. But if you, like, at some point, if you joke too much, like constantly every single day, is it really a joke? And like with Kena Bridge of Spirits, you brought it up when you were playing it, and Colt doesn't just like stop playing the game. Like he'll be like, all right, let me give it a couple days, and then he'll come back to it and he'll give it a fair shot. He'll play for like 45 minutes, an hour, and then he'll be like, it's just not catching me. I'm gonna come back later. Like that's what Colt
I actually got drowsy playing it both sessions, but I also picked up the game right when Halo Fighting started. Dude. Right when Avengers really kind of captivated me a couple weeks ago or last weekend, I think.
Last week you played a lot, man. Yeah. I'm telling you, you have more time than I do on it. And I was like,
I put like 40 plus hours into it.
You're like, I'm the Black Panther. I'm doing things.
Yeah,
I was like, all right.
Yeah, I'm like Wolverine with short claws. Yeah, it was really cool. Let me get into this I'll do a little mini speech about Forza Horizon. I'm sure a lot of people watch the show. Shout out to over 700 people who are listening to Zalker and I rant and rave about fanboys and the stuff we do love. But Forza Horizon 5 is exactly what you'd expect. And just like Far Cry 6, which we're going to talk about just after that, if you're a fan, you have nothing to complain about with Forza Horizon 5. Now, I did a 15-minute preview video, production video, 4K 60. This stream is really hampered by StreamYard, and I'll work on being able to show content on the channel, bringing more features in. That'll take some time, but actually this is the 23rd episode here with Zalker. I've only been running the show about 4 months, so I've got a lot to learn.
23rd for 23 studios.
For 23 studios. So, I think, definitely. So if you don't play a lot of Forza Horizon, you are going to be taken over by how great the game is. And if you've played a lot of Forza Horizon and you like it, you're going to love all this stuff. We haven't even been able to see this is just a fraction in the preview. They didn't let us do hardly anything. They gave us 5, maybe 8 races, one showcase event. They let you drive around the world, but there were no events to try out. Event Lab isn't there, which will give you a playground, a crazy playground of boost ramps and stuff. So I hope you check out that video. I put that out this morning, so it's on the channel. It's kind of rare that I put a video out in the morning and then do the stream here, but I'll just say Forza Horizon 5 is going to be really good. I'm just hoping, Zalker, since you have a lot of experience with the franchise and you didn't get to play the preview, I want you to be able to say things. But let me ask you this question, Zalker. Do you think that reviewers have it in their rights to dock Forza Horizon 5 to 10 points out of 100 for the game not blowing their mind with new innovative features?
I don't know, because no, I'm just being quite honest, right? So this is in one of the topics, it meshes well very well, Far Cry 6. That game is kind of getting attacked a lot, and I don't understand why. We're on parties again because we're obsessed. We're playing this game a lot and just talking and having fun and be like, oh, I'm doing this, or I'm over here, I'm doing that, and it's an open world. It's a Far Cry game. If you do not like the loop of Far Cry games, you're not going to like Far Cry 6. If you're tired of the loop, you're going to be tired of Far Cry 6. But I have to say, for me, I like looking at graphics, technicalities, things that they improved on. And every single facet, sorry, I'm choking now.
Choking up. No.
Every single facet of Far Cry 6 is better. I'm really choking. Sorry.
Take some water.
Is improved from Far Cry 5. Far Cry 6 is a massive improvement from Far Cry 5. There's videos up there putting comparisons up there. Everything from the physics to the gunplay to the world, the graphics, the fidelity, the draw distance is just way better on Far Cry 6. So for me, I'm actually experiencing that even more. It's just so good. And then you look at Forza Horizon and the tech they talked about, again, draw distance. They've tuned the cars a little bit better. The world is bigger. The biomes are a lot bigger. They brought the weather over. You just crash and rewind. I love it. Everything about this is different, but the same. I know that sounds weird, but if reviewers dock it because it's too much like the last one, it's a 5th iteration of the game. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
If you don't like it, then don't. I don't.
Jeff Grubb was fighting this fight pretty hard for the past 2 days on social media, because I think he might have written an article about it, because a lot of franchises make 3 to 5, sometimes 6 games before they flip the formula. And God of War was one that was critically acclaimed and well loved for 10 games before they flipped the script. And flipping the script is great, but there's some things in Forza Horizon that really sweetens it up. And I try to kind of convey it in the video, in the full production video, where the lighting is just, they call it volumetric lighting for a reason. It's there. You can reach out and hug it. You can see the glowing light. You get shiny starbursts off of the stream's getting a little wonky here, but this is like a 5 gig file that's going up while we're doing the show. But yeah, it really is. It's a huge file. I put it at 1080p 60, but it's yeah, it gets constrained. But
I think we're
there's like
the
light. Yeah, there's like the light bursts that come off the car body, and there's the trailing lens flares that go across the headlights and the taillights. It just sweetens up everything. Of course, you're also seeing Forza Horizon 4 optimized Series X in 5. Like, plus they've ramped up the environments to look photorealistic. So you're getting like, this is the full, I don't know if they'll change it up, but you're getting like the full feature, amazing looking game, and the game feels incredible. It's an award winner for sure.
And that's the thing. I think that if you bring out a game like 5 or bring out a game like Far Cry 6 and it's technically decent and it's pretty good, but there's glitches or there's something wrong with it that you've tried to change things up, but it doesn't, I don't know. I just don't think that it's gonna, I think if it has glitches, that's where they're gonna get docked. If it's more the same and people are getting mad, like, I don't understand that whole Ubisoft thing of they do the same thing, right? And that, I don't think Forza is going to get docked for it. If it does, that's a stupid reason. Judge the game for what it is, which is a Forza Horizon open world racing game. Look at the world, see if they've improved any of the tech, see if they improved the driving, see if they improved things from the last iteration, which was 3 years ago. Now, Ubisoft, people are saying, oh, it's the same thing. You go around and you do all these check marks. It's an open world game. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Every game is repetitive. Every single game. God of War is repetitive. You're going around fighting things and you kill them and you have fun. That's it. Every game is repetitive. If you don't like the game loop again, then move on. Like, that's and don't get me wrong. If you're a reviewer and you just are not into the story, you're not into the gameplay, and you're the one reviewing it, dock it what you see fit. Not going to tell you to do it otherwise. But if you're someone that doesn't like racing games, like me, and you start like hating on the game because it's boring, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're just not. It wasn't catered to you. And that's going to happen. And it is. And the whole Ubisoft thing, this is what we're talking about, Far Cry 6 getting killed. The whole Ubisoft thing is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, Assassin's Creed has completely changed the last 3 games. They're completely open world RPGs, like some of the most in-depth RPGs out there.
Yeah, from Origins on, yeah, they really flipped that script. And I think in a really good way. You and I were talking about this last night while we were playing Far Cry 6, that we feel like when they made Odyssey and Origins, like they turned Assassin's Creed from a game I used to really like into one I'd kind of despised by the time it reached the 2016s or whatever it was. And then when I played Origins, I'm like, this is the coolest game that I played in a long time. That game alone.
The world building, it was like so detailed. And I remember it was like a big showcase for the Xbox One X at the time.
It was.
Just came out. They were like, hey, we're going to show the graphics off for the Xbox One X, blah, blah, blah. And it was great. Like, even if you're, you and Dealer were talking about this for the Series X for Far Cry, that a lot of the features on there are like PC. Like, it runs extremely well on there because Ubisoft really wants to hone in on the next generation consoles and move forward. And the person that works at Ubisoft, one of the CEOs, has said, like, it's the next gen consoles are vital to our success. Mm-hmm. And so everybody sees that. Everybody understands that. So Far Cry 6 looks insane on the Series X. I'm playing it on PC because of Ubisoft Plus, and it looks insane on there. So I don't like the whole, like, if it's the same thing, I'm not going to like it, or blah, blah, blah. Can they get docked? Sure, at some point, if you're doing the same thing, but you're not improving graphics, or you're not improving the physics, or you're not improving the world building of it, then yeah, get docked. Get docked completely. Mm-hmm. And this is why
well, I feel like with Far Cry 6, they made Far Cry New Dawn. God, that game did so many things that drove me crazy. I just did not like it all. But I feel like they grabbed some of the things they did in 5 and 3 and New Dawn, and I feel like 6 is kind of the best of the best. It's kind of like a greatest hits. It feels like Just Cause. It feels like Just Cause 3 or 2 more than it feels like. It's like a mix of both of those games. And I've got the footage up here, which will run at a low frame rate, but I've got this fire weapon. Like, we've been telling stories. When you play something like this, like, you have this franchise fatigue, but I am having so much fun playing Far Cry. I'm not worried about all of the 600 hours I have in Forza Horizon. I'm going to love that so much. And not a lot of people have as many hours as I do in a game like Forza Horizon. So,
Far Cry 6 is the best Far Cry I've ever played. Like, I know 3 is like the darling. Everybody loves 3, and 3 is great. I've played it too. Far Cry 4, I think I have like 80 hours in it. And then Far Cry 5, I've been playing a lot of it recently, actually, this summer. And it's really great. Good. And it's a really good game. But, man, is 6 just so well done. Like, I'm just having so much fun with it. Like, headshots, like, when you hit a headshot, it makes, like, a sound. It's so satisfying. And
then it paints on the concrete behind them. It's really cool.
And then when you stab somebody with a machete and there's somebody standing in front of you, they're covered in blood. Like, it's brutal.
They also brought back the healing animations, which they kind of went away with in 5. Like, you re-break fingers, wrists, you rip bullets out of your arm with pliers, you pull a piece of metal out of your hand, you duct tape your arm, because it used to just be bandage your arm in 5. Like, I felt like they were like, oh, we're too gory, but this is good stuff. This is really good stuff. Let me get this super from Jedi Knight Peter. Thank you so much for the Australian $10. He says, do you think the holiday sales are as important as they once were? Battlefield will release this year. To not miss that holiday window, even if it's broken. Gamers will buy great games whenever they are out.
I think the holiday season is extremely important. You can just tell by the release dates. I mean, this month alone, tonight in 2.5 hours, Back 4 Blood comes out. Game Pass, by the way. There's Rift Breaker, which I know a lot of people don't know that game, but it's coming on Game Pass, and I'm so excited for that game. Guardians of the Galaxy, COD, Age of Empires. If you look at all the sales and all the games releasing, holiday season is still packed. It's extremely important for the biggest games are coming out end of the year, and now it's starting to change with Sony releasing their games in spring. A lot of games have been delayed into spring. Some big games have sold very well in spring, but I still think that Call of Duty, the most sold game, bar none, makes the most money out of everybody, still releases in November or October and makes a crap ton of money. That's it. Like, it does. It does.
Yep. It does.
And I almost cussed, but I didn't.
I know. I think that's so great.
I tried, man. I tried.
You're such a respectable guy, man. I really appreciate that. That's funny. I mean, it's kind of hard for us as fans to say how important the holiday season is. But, do you remember the days, Zalker, when you were hoping that your parents would buy you a couple of the games you wanted in the holiday season for Christmas? So I think that's important. But a lot of us who are diehard, like, we buy them whenever we can. That's why I've always said, like, hey, I'm a really diehard gamer. Like, I don't care about summer. I mean, I like summer, but I still want to buy and play games because even if I'm out doing my thing and, getting sunburned or whatever, when I come home at night, I want a new game to play. So I think they've gone away from that, haven't they, Zalker, where they had the summer drought. They wouldn't release games because no one will buy and play in the summer. I think maybe the pandemic had something to do with that. But
well, no, it started to me, it kind of started like in 2015 with Batman. Like, Batman dropped in the summer and utterly obliterated sales charts, sold like crazy. PS4 had the exclusive deal. Their consoles sold out like crazy. And I'm like, man, like, so summer is actually a time you can release a game at. And then again, then Sony kind of tested it with their games in the spring. And now it's free fall. There's so many games coming out. Gaming is the biggest, I think it's their biggest growing market in all of like media right now. I'm almost positive it is. And so now they're just like, every single month, if you bring something out, people will come, people will play because there's more of us and they'll sell. They can hit more people, and that's what they're going to do. And what was the report? Was it like 2 years ago that Xbox wants to bring out 4 AAA games a year for Game Pass?
Gosh.
Like, technically, they're bringing out more than that. Like, I mean, we have one this month with Age of Empire. We have another one with Forza next month, and we have another one with Halo in December. And this is like them
and then
not
Flight
even
Sim was in the
stride.
summer.
And Flight Sim, and then Psychonauts.
Yeah,
so like all these games coming out, it's like, oof.
Next year, it's Stalker 2. It's Warhammer Darktide. Ooh, I don't know if that's AAA, but oh man, that's going to be a great game. And then you have Starfield and Redfall.
Can you say my girlfriend's bringing me like all this stuff to eat? Look at this.
Right now?
Yeah, she's just bringing it over, handing it over to me because she knows like I just finished work and then jumped on here, and so she told me, she's like, "You're an idiot. You don't have food, do you?" I was like, "You."
Oh my gosh, what is that?
It's like this pita meat thing that Armenians make. It's really good. It's so good.
That's awesome. I got to tell a story. When I first started appearing on camera for podcasts, I was on Gaz and Ace's Game On Daily Go Live show, and I think it was like the second time I'd been on camera, and I was on the show, and my wife brought Quiznos, like a huge sandwich, and slid it over here. I don't know where the camera can see, but like slid it in front of my mic, and I was dying. I was on the show. It was like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. I'm starving, and I'm like, and I clicked over and I shut off my camera, and I unwrapped the thing, and I'm standing over like this. Staying away, and I'm in my like shorts and a t-shirt, right? And I'm standing up and I start digging into this sandwich like I just gotten out of like POW camp. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And Gaz and Asa start laughing on the stream, and I had my mic muted. I'm like, oh no, I didn't mute my mic. And I looked over. What happened was when I muted my mic, it flipped Darj and I, and it said Darj was Cold Eastwood, and that's what they were laughing out. But I was white as a ghost, and I still had like meat hanging out of my mouth. Like, oh my gosh, they're watching me eat.
I want Quiznos so bad. By the way, did you have a Mountain Dew with it? Please tell me.
Yes, of course I did. Yes, of course I did.
That is his like addiction. I'm like sitting there and I hear like a little. I'm like, Colt, what are you doing? He's like, nothing. I'm like, yeah, nothing.
And with that story, well, I'd like to embarrass myself, but shout out to the 675 people. I got a couple super chats here. We got King Ram. He's a longtime friend too. I created his logo back in 2017. He still got it. It's looking sweet. He said, make sure to support great content creators like Zalker87 and Colt Eastwood. Yeah, he's awesome. You know, King Ram. We see him in RDX all the time. And Lady Foxfire. She says, another awesome episode, Colt. Then she's got the little fox emoji and thumbs up. She says, Zalker, you've come a long way with the great content since I saw you on Scumcast and your first RDX appearance. Keep it up.
Thank you, Lady
awesome.
Foxfire. And shout out to Luca, that's Scumcast. And then shout out to PTK Blam. That's where I really started podcasting a lot. But keep going.
Yes,
there's
that's
got to be
awesome.
more super chats. I saw a bunch come in.
There's a couple comments here. We're so lucky, Zalker, that we do a show where we talk about Xbox, and Xbox is making its way around the world. This comment from Quada Global says, hey, Cole, avid follower from Nigeria, and he put up the Nigerian flag. He said, let's go. Halo Infinite multiplayer is going to be ahead come launch. I think it's so cool that I have to readjust my chair because I got up to kind of act like I was eating Quiznos, but it's so awesome, Zalker. Like, you've talked to people from all over the world because the internet connects us with podcasts and stuff. I think it's so awesome. Shout out to Nigeria. Shout out to Australia. The Australian people are always here because during the show, Zalker, for them, it's around 9 or 11 o'clock, depending on what part of Australia they're in. So, like, they're just getting up and kind of starting their day, and Back 4 Blood's on Game Pass for them. And we got,
just throw it out there, and Back 4 Blood.
Like, those guys get stuff early, you know. I was talking to Ashtray Gaming, who's been chatting in here, and he's always like getting everything. He's like, I'm in the future. So risk it for the biscuit. Thanks for the Australian $8. He said, I wasn't going to play. I think he's talking about Far Cry 6, Zalker. But after hearing you guys, I am in. Great chat, by the way. All the guys here rock. Hit the like button. I haven't asked you yet. I don't like to beg for likes, but if you're enjoying the show, if you like seeing Zalker's beautiful face and you're having a good time, move the chat out of the way, hit the like button, come on back and join the rest of your friends eating Subway sandwiches and Quiznos sandwiches. But let's see.
Got Quiznos. You suck.
I know, I'm starving.
Years.
It's a rule not to eat on the podcast, and one of our good friends, Kid Smooth, gets called out all the time because they'll ask him a question. He's like, huh? They're like, are you eating on the podcast?
I've been snacking over here. I'm sorry, man. I've been snacking.
He's so funny. Danta, thank you for the 5. He says, I love Ubisoft games mostly. I've never had a problem with their formula, but I stopped buying their games at launch because they go on sale way too fast.
Ubisoft
I was telling Zalker that Ubisoft has like this recipe book of everything that gamers love. and they try and throw most of the ingredients in the bowl. And I think what you get is a great game almost every time. But do you get like a game-changing, like put it in the Library of Congress? Not very often, but I love Ubisoft, and so do you, right, Zalker?
Oh, I think Ubisoft's one of my favorite publishers around.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I love Siege. I love, Riders Republic. I haven't played it, but I heard that game is surprisingly fun. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm subscribed to them on Ubisoft Plus because I play so many other games. I'm like, why am I spending $120 to $100 on one game with the expansions when I can get everything?
I know.
And their expansions with a subscription, kind of like Game Pass. So that's just me. I got it. So I'm playing Far Cry, then I'm going to play Riders Republic, and then I'm going to play that new Infiltrate or whatever it's called, the new like Tom Clancy one with the aliens. That looks so good. I don't care.
What? Okay, I got to check that out.
Yeah,
check that. Yeah, I'm with you, Zalker. I'm a Ubisoft fan. I have my criticisms. Like, I didn't like Breakpoint. There's some games I just don't love, but we don't even get into it because like their games are great. Like, great is the best word for them because they have awesome, great games, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. And if they do enough evolving of the formula sometimes, I'm not worried about it. I know what to buy and what not to buy. Shout out to Mr. Dr. Mittens. Joseph Campbell. I think he must have changed that name because he's always been Joseph Campbell before. But thank you for the £5 super chat. He says, great show. Nice to see you both. Have a nice night. Peace. And then he peeled out. No, that's great. Joseph Campbell's awesome. Harit Johnny, thank you for the $5. He says, I think the holiday season sales are based on Western world holidays. That is something I never really think about. He says, with growing Eastern economies, publishers should focus on holidays in other regions.
I'm sure they have certain things for other regions. I mean, the like the Xbox Tokyo Game Show, like they focused a lot on like Japanese developers. Sarah Bond talked about them. They talked about games coming that are Japanese centric, JRPGs. Obviously we don't see it often because we're Western, we're in the United States, so they don't throw that stuff at us a lot. It's not catered to us. But I think both companies do it. Like a lot of things, like they'll switch up like advertisements. They'll switch up like sales depending on the region you're in. This is why VPNs exist, right? People sometimes get other content that other regions don't. So that's just me.
I think there's just one holiday that we're talking about here. Like Hargit knows that they conglomerate a lot of games into what would be the Western part of the world's Christmas holiday. Yeah, I get that. But it is a big boom for sales in the. I'm sure it's a big boom in the world. Like if you're going to look, that's a hot spot for sales during that like 1 or 2 month period. So the world just kind of goes, hey, we can't ignore that. Thank you so much. Hey, Blinken's got a big super chat. This is in hot pink, a $50 super chat. Thank you so much. He said, glad you finally got Zalker on. Love his gaming analysis. Now, you guys already know who Zalker is, but he is like, I call him the post office of YouTube. Rain or shine. He's got a video on a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday. And Zalker's always got his ear to the ground for the latest gaming news or anything that needs to be covered so he can have content reliably on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now, you kind of moved a little bit when you release those videos. It was noon for a long time. Sometimes you put one out at 10 o'clock. What's the story behind kind of like keeping that kind of fluid?
Work. I had to change it. I had I was pretty much like people.
A real job?
Yeah, I have a real job. I have a 40-hour work week. I've talked about it before. I'm a computer science engineer, and so I have a job that I have to, requires a lot of brain power for me to work. Like I get tired. So when 12 o'clock hits, it's like kind of like lunchtime, or sometimes I'm working a little extra because some things come up, right? I'm crunching. I'm joking. But like I during lunch, I have to I just need to disconnect. Crunching during lunch, I just need to completely disconnect. And so that's why I kind of changed the time. But yeah, I like bringing out about 3 videos a week. That's when I started taking it more serious and really enjoying the process. I know some people think oh, I'll just make videos, but no, I really like doing them. I write mine out. I script them. I kind of put bullet points. I like reading the news and I like making videos. I enjoy that process. It's kind of almost like a de-stressor. Like, I'm talking about something I love and doing something that I love, which is talking gaming, making videos about it, and interacting with people that love the same thing I do.
Yeah, and there's for a while when I first started doing this, it was a way for me to share the games that I'd recorded and like kind of share the games I like and plus give the news and stuff like that. But it's been incredible to be able to reach people and kind of shoehorn your opinion or your take on things with the big news. So we absolutely love that. One last question before we get into the last big topic is a lot of people want to know which one is going to be bigger and better and king of the first-person shooters in holiday. Is it even a fair question, Zalker? Halo Infinite versus Battlefield 2042.
I've said this. I had a video out today, actually. Look at that. Post office strikes again. I talk about basically the Halo reactions that have been going around. And to me, I think that Halo has a unique opportunity to stand out completely because of its campaign. And, Battlefield doesn't have one. Call of Duty people aren't. I feel like the hype for Call of Duty Vanguard is just not there. So I think Halo easily has a chance to completely dominate. Now, there's some things that I think that Halo can do better at, right? Like, I think their advertisement, like, they need to bring that thing out there. Like, yeah, they need to completely, like, Halo's everything. I know they're going to want to push it for Game Pass, for sale, everything. So that, and I think that it's going to be judged wholeheartedly by not the multiplayer. I think it's going to be judged by the campaign. And I know that sucks to hear for a lot of people, but Halo 5, people are like, the multiplayer is great. It's great. But then that's all they say. 5 seconds. Multiplayer is great. Moving on. But the campaign, like, I just want to, slap Lock out of the way. Like they get really irritated with it. And I'm sitting there going like, man, but the multiplayer is great, right? Like, all this is great. And Halo is one of the biggest, if not the biggest franchise in gaming. It's a multi-billion-dollar franchise. And I mean multi-billion-dollar. Like, they're making a show. They have comic books. The game is amazing. Like, when Halo comes out, it's a freaking event. Like look at it. Like, it was streamed a lot, and some people talked about it. They said, "Hey, I think it was Dr. Disrespect. He said that Halo needs a BR if it really wants to have staying power."
Yeah.
I think that BRs are just a genre now. I think that it's going to be here forever. And do I think Halo needs one? I don't know. We'll see if they can do it right. I don't want a BR where it's just like, here's Halo, here's a BR. No. They need to think of something completely different if they're going to do that. Other than that, I don't think they're in that.
I don't think they're in that mode, are they, Zalker?
They're not going to.
Maybe that's what the service-based thing. Like, maybe that's something that they can come up with. But in 3 years, is anybody going to care about Battle Royale with Master Chief in it? I don't know.
I don't think it's the Master Chief. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. I don't think you need to have it like where it's the Master Chief. I think it's a Battle Royale. That's why you have to make it a good Battle Royale. You have to make it a good game first, a good mode. That's what you need to do first.
Like, it needs to follow like the Apex Legend model where you pick a character that is class based from the franchise. Like, you have an elite, you have an brute, you have a ODST, you have a Spartan. Like, it has
maybe, but I think it's more like Warzone, right? Like Warzone, you just play in COD and you build what guns you want, stuff like that. That's what I think that it could do good. But you need to have a good map. You need to have a big map. You need to make it at least 150 people fighting in there. But like I think that it's going to dominate.
Call of Duty Warzone doesn't rewrite the formula. They just kind of put the Call of Duty spin. That they have the Brig, which is very cool.
And it's free, right? That's the difference. Call of Duty's $70, or no, it's not anymore. Is it? Isn't it 60? Didn't they get rid of the 70?
Well, that one is 60, but yeah, I think Vanguard's 70. Yeah.
But Call of Duty Halo is free. So Battlefield is 70, Call of Duty 60 or whatever. So these cost money to play them, while Halo's multiplayer is completely free. So that's a little. It's a hard thing to say because Battlefield's going to be everywhere and it's a massive franchise. But I think Halo's going to compete with them. Like, I think people kind of forget. Like, it's been 6 years. I think people forget just how massive that franchise is, and I think it's going to surprise a lot of people of how dominant it's going to be this year.
Yeah. I think. And you're right. It does really come down to that campaign. That is where it's going to be reviewed mostly. I mean, that's really what they want people to know, is if that campaign is going to be amazing. I have a good feeling about the campaign at this point. I think they've learned some harsh lessons from 5, and I don't know, but
Brisket, you said Warzone is free too. I know, but that's a BR. I'm talking about Call of Duty Vanguard. I'm talking about 2042. Like, to play the new Call of Duty, to play the new Battlefield, you need to buy it. To play Halo's multiplayer, you don't need to buy it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and the only thing that Halo has going against it is it's not on a PlayStation console, so it's going to lose a certain amount of accessibility. But then again, it is accessible for free, making it way more accessible.
But and the character, right? Like, Battlefield doesn't have a character. Call of Duty doesn't have a character. Master Chief is one of the most recognizable.
An IP, a franchise,
and a recognizable one at that.
Yep. Shout out to Danny Passion Official with the $2 super chat. Thanks, Danny. He says, Ubisoft delay any game due to COVID-19. He said my super chat got lost. If I went and looked, I didn't see it while Zalker and I are talking, but you can just write it back in the chat again. I'll keep an eye out for it. Well, one last thing, Zalker, is Jez Corden from Windows Central, very famous person in the community, right?
Yep.
Mayonnaise Man. Shout out to him for stepping in and saying hi. That's really cool of him. He was talking about 1/3 of games. Which way does this go, Zalker? Do you remember what his quote was? He said 1/3 of games from Xbox's like deals and studios have not been shown yet.
Yeah, he said 1/3 of the games have been shown. So
have been shown.
That's what I thought he said. I know that was on the podcast, the Xbox 2 podcast. I think.
Yeah, who's in that? Who's on that with him? I can never remember who's on that podcast on that Xbox 2 with Jez.
He's very forgettable. You know, like, he's just like, I kind of like,
We make the joke because I talk to Rand so often, and Jez will say something really intriguing on the podcast, and all these sites write about it and say, Jez Corden of Windows Central spoke on Xbox 2 podcast regarding the blah, blah, blah. And they never mention on Rand's channel, on Rand's show, sitting next to Rand like that. So
sitting next to Rand, they're sitting there like all locked in together. Like,
like the camera zooms in and just crops him out. Like the production assistant comes over and just pushes Rand off camera.
Rand, can you move a little to your left?
Yeah.
He's just like
when they're taking a picture, just a little bit and off a cliff.
Yeah.
The man with the million. But 1/3 have been shown. Oh my goodness. I would love to do that math because they've shown like 20 some games.
Wasn't there like a thing that's at 23 studios, but like 35 or like 36 projects within those studios? Like that's right. What the number was, and I believe it because one, that's just 23 first-party studios and 35 teams within the first party. Doesn't include third-party. Doesn't include second party deals, right? Like The Ascent, all those other games that are exclusive to Xbox console. Mm-hmm. So I think he might be right. I think that there's a lot more stuff that we don't know about, and I think Jez knows a lot more. But I also think that Jez is thinking in his head, kind of like doing the math. Like, if I know about these, what are the ones I don't know about? Like this much
I've
stuff
already
that I
done
know about.
I've already done the research, though, Zalker. I've already projected out what we know is in the works, and there's only so many studios left, so they must be striking deals with other teams, saying, "Hey, we need you to make a game for us." There must be a lot more than like the 3 or 4 we've heard about.
Well, not just those. I'm thinking new.
Do you think he's including Project Dragon?
Yes.
What's the other one? Project Dragon. I can't even think all of a sudden. There's like 3 that they talked about.
Oh, the IO. Not the IO. The Contraband from Avalanche,
which we already know about. IO Interactive Project Dragon is an unknown, and there was one more.
Crystal Dynamics.
Maybe.
Are you talking about the like 4 times that by Oxide or Oxide or something like that?
No, that's what is that the builder? I don't know. We could like ramble on and on, but you and I made videos a couple months ago about these 3 games from IO, Avalanche, and what was the other one? Oh, maybe it was a possible thing with Crytek, but I can't remember now.
Oh, dude, I totally forgot about that one.
But anyway, the point is,
Yeah.
Zalker, like we can't figure it out, but there's so many things in the works. Xbox is totally killing it. So how many games do you suppose this is that they are like striking deals that he's heard of that we haven't? Like 5 more games, 8 more games?
No, I think maybe more, man. Like, because the way I look at it, I think he's even including things like Warhammer
Thank you,
Dark
Donataku.
Tide.
Like, yeah. Well, we've
Like-
seen that.
Like Warhammer Dark
Donataku says
Tide.
Project Indus and Project
Thank you.
Cobalt.
There you go. There's a
Yeah.
couple. Well, do you remember the Nvidia leaks like a month ago?
Yes,
Like,
you
that
did a video on that.
Yeah, I did a video on that, and they had like it was insane. Like, because you got to think about the studios like Compulsion Games. You got to think about the studios like id. You got to think about all these studios that are kind of just there, and nobody's talking about them yet. Like, they haven't talked about any of the what the coalition is making, and apparently they're working on a Gears and a new IP. The Minecraft games, right? Minecraft's apparently working on 2 new games within that universe, so to speak. There's a lot of stuff that we just don't know about, and studios that they're just kind of chilling, man. So I believe him. I think that 1/3 has been talked about, but I think that there's a lot more coming, because there's been rumors about like, man, this is like right now we're talking about how many games are coming to Xbox Game Pass and Xbox in general till the end of this year, and we're like, wow, that's a pretty decent lineup, and people are like, they haven't even started, man. Like, they haven't even gone on.
Right.
What-
Yeah. I mean, we do wonder about like what are they gonna show at E3 2022? It's like I don't know. I mean, they have a lot of stuff that they haven't shown gameplay of, but I don't know. That Xbox has no games thing is
Dead.
yeah, it's done.
Gone.
So
Move
done.
on. They have way more games than any other publisher out there. Move on.
Deal with it, baby. Deal with
Yeah.
it. Danny Passion Official, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He said, I had like 3 glitches in, but nothing crazy in Battlefield 2042. I can't what I agree. Same. Like, I just kind of was talking about the stuff I did see. But I'm with you. And I'm with you, Zalker. He said, I can't wait to play the full game. I've seen biggest glitches on completed games like Call of Duty, Cold War, etc. Yeah. A Booby G, which is an awesome name, gives a $2 super chat. Says, subscribe to y'all or dope. So, Zalker, what are you at right now? You're at 40. Give us the number. Subscribers. Hey, don't look. Who counts?
I'm looking now. You got me all 41.
41.
41.8. There you go.
Very nice. Very nice.
I just looked at YouTube. They told me 41.8, and then I'm very grateful for every single one.
Yes,
Where are you
I
at,
am too.
Cultist, Mr. I'm looking at your stuff right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's good. It's really good. I'm really happy. I remember the days when I had 138 subscribers, and I just wanted people to watch and enjoy watching the videos. So it is so great. It's so cool. Like right now, to have 600 or 700 people, listening in, and the good thing about these shows, Zalker, like you've done this for a long time, is like we have this conversation, and the chat is having the conversation back. They're talking amongst themselves, and by the time they get done with a long show, they've learned a bunch of things. But
Well, yeah, and then they got to know us a little bit better too. That's a big thing, and we got to know them a little bit.
They can see Zalker's face,
and they can see my ugly mug, and they're like, "Ooh, I thought he was ugly, and I was right."
Why don't you stay off camera a little bit, man? Why don't you
stay off camera? I lost 18 subs just being on here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, being on camera was pretty cool when I started doing on videos. People were really, really nice. And some people were like, your cat's ugly. But yeah, shout out to ZGL7 with a $5 super chat. He says, you guys rock. Keep up the good work. Thanks for the great content. It's Monday, so Zalker had a video today. Go check it out. And if you get bored and want to see like what I think is the highest quality footage of Forza Horizon 5 next to dealers, since we both use the best equipment that a few dollars can buy, check out our Forza Horizon 5 stuff today. Donataku with the $5 super chat says, I feel like Halo Infinite's campaign will definitely be the most fun Halo gameplay-wise. Oh, Zalker, you know what I was saying before we were playing this most recent game? As I was saying, when they have these outposts, that it could feel like Far Cry. We're having fun in Far Cry. What if we get a little bit of Far Cry action, a little Far Cry feel in the Halo Infinite campaign? Are you good with that?
I'm down. Like once when they showed the map last year, all those little points that you can do, it was very Far Cry-esque. But again, Far Cry's embedded in kind of like reality, right? But like, can you imagine going to like different places, kind of like Gears, right? Gears 5, you were going and exploring all these little side things. I did everything in Gears 5.
Yeah, it was very limited compared to what I think we'll get in Halo, but
because Halo's world looks way more fleshed out. And then when they did this year, they panned over the entire world for like that 15-second shot. God, that was so good. And you saw like little things, little stuff everywhere, little beams, right? You saw a couple things and you're like, oh, these are like, I hope these are like awesome little side things I can do.
They must be like an outpost or something that you can go in. You have to take out the enemies and maybe bash a power core and take that over. And Donataku finishes up and says the story is still up in the air. And yeah, we don't know. Like that little cinematic you saw after we saw that pan over the world, and then Master Chief's in that zero gravity. Like I was digging that, Zalker. Like I'm like, there's gonna be some feel here that people forget about because they see Halo as teabag, and then the stories are always really pretty good.
Did you see the?
Take a bite.
Did you see the bots? Like people were like the video of people fighting the bots during the flighting, the first one where it was just you don't go against people. And then one of the bots is like teabagging a dead body, and he's like, "Wait, what?" And like you see it zoom in, like he's in there and it's teabagging. And they're like, "What kind of AI?"
They're looking from the bushes.
Yeah, they're like, "What kind of AI is doing that?" It's like, I get it, but honestly, for me, Halo is always about co-op and the campaign, like Master Chief. So I'm looking forward to the story.
I think it's going to do really well. I think that the biggest problem, I'm not really worried about the story. I'm worried about if those servers get just absolutely annihilated by like 2 or 3 million people in the first segment of the game.
So don't even stress people. The servers are going to crash opening day. That's
yes,
gonna happen.
yes.
It's free to play, completely new. They're doing different stuff. As for the story, I am worried because I know it's going to be judged solely on the story, and I want the story to be kick-ass.
Yeah, I would really recommend when the game comes out, get into the campaign, spend a couple weeks with the campaign, just, do the whole thing, and then say, give them a couple weeks for all those people to crash headfirst into the servers, and then maybe they'll have it ready. But Zocker's right. It will have problems. Right. I hope I didn't miss some super chats, but I might have. But thank you so much to all of you who have been here. There's we had well over 600 or 700 people watching. Zocker and I are just finishing up here. I've got a couple more supers, but we got Louis Bill with the $5 says, "What's the likelihood of an already acquired studio working on games and those studio acquisitions haven't been announced yet?" We kind of talked about that earlier in the show.
Yeah,
Zocker, like, if there's these games that Jez is alluding to that he's figured out or he's hearing whispers, like Louis Bill is asking, what are the chances that game that they're working on, that Xbox already wants to buy them? We kind of covered that.
Yeah, we covered that with Crystal Dynamics, covered it with IO, a bunch of other studios. I mean, right now, I think even Jeff Grubb said that the Xbox is pretty happy with where their first party is standing. Obviously, there's other stuffs in the work that they might be buying soon. Maybe that's another thing that they're happy with. But it's also they want people to start joining that they can trust and meshes well with the rest of Bethesda, Xbox, and everybody, because that's what the whole thing is. This is relationships and collaborating together, and that's what they're going to be looking for.
Organic. And it does kind of go with that, Zocker. Like Louis Bill was kind of saying, what if they already want to buy these studios and they're going to wait till their game comes out and just release it, right? Like, people don't like that. Like, the PlayStation fans hate that Xbox would just buy something. But if Xbox's plan, like Jeff and Jez and Zocker and I have said, if their plan is like, let's work with them on a 3 to 5 development cycle, which is you really get to know a team. And if they work well with us and we feel like we can work together, we have money. Satya's got money ready to spend. So I think I
guarantee it's more, they're putting it in the creators' hands. Don't get me wrong. Xbox is not out there being, just throwing money at people. They don't, the big companies that are $1 trillion companies don't become $1 trillion companies by doing stupid things. I think that they're going to be working with people. I think that they're going to invest in them and say, hey, this is an opportunity. And I think they make it very plainly up front that you can be part of the team after. And I think they're like, we'll invest in you. And if you do well, obviously there's going to be more relationships down the line and then be acquired, maybe stuff like that. Are you open to that? I think that's what I think the biggest thing that Xbox is doing right now is actually communicating what they want with developers, what they expect from them. And it's a very professional, but also very welcoming. And so I think that's something that they didn't do for a long time. And we're living in the best day and age to be an Xbox gamer, like legitimately the best by far. It's not even close. 360 is nothing compared to what we're living right now. Sorry to say it. People are going to be like, and they're going to start yelling at me, but that's what I think.
It's been good for us for a while before all this started kicking up. Like I've been having a really good time on the platform for a couple of years. 2017 and into 2018, I was really worried. And I gave my concerns. The difference is you don't harp on it with 70 million tweets per day. I have a lot of tweets, but I don't know. Grow up and move on, right? 108 Dragon, thank you for the $2 super chat. It says, Colt, you deserve every bit of your subs. 108, I was trying to figure out if they're going to have a traditional E3 this June of 2022. If they are, and I really hope that North America gets their stuff in order and everybody's ready to kind of try and go back to normal. Because if they are, we're going to hang out. We're going to go get Korean barbecue in LA. We're all going to hang out for E3. I'm dragging Zalker in down to LA, and we're all going to hang out. So I hope that happens. One more from Sour Blow Gaming says, thanks for the $2 super chat. He says, why did Dealer get special treatment? Show us his face. I have pictures of his face on my phone, and no, you can't see them. No, we've known Dealer for a long time, and I gave him some lectures on the phone. I'm like, hey, bro, come on, get on camera. People love it. And he's like, no. I go, Dealer, come on, Dealer. And he's Dealer. Like, no, I don't want. No, he's so funny. He's like, why? Why should I? I don't have to. It's so he's funny, but he's doing his thing, and he's so powerful behind the mic. If we had to see his face at the same time, wouldn't some heads explode, Zalker?
I feel like the magic would be ruined. Like, he's just a skull. He's just a skull with a voice. Like he's a scarecrow. He's a Grim Reaper with a voice. And I think if somebody sees his face, when we see his face, you're just kind of like, no.
Is there any magic gone from chat from seeing Zalker on here today? I think we went up a couple numbers on the magic card.
There was no magic anyways. It's okay, people. I'm okay now.
Zalker, what have you been playing? We kind of talked about it today, but just tell us like the past 3 games that kind of taken you over past week or so.
Funny enough, the one was that Goose game.
Oh yes,
the little that game is so
Metal
stupid.
Slug-like thing.
That thing is so stupid, but it's so fun. It's on Game Pass. I was playing it on my 360. I was playing it on cloud, and it's just a small game, but it has really good mechanics gameplay wise. So I'm really, really enjoying that game. I beat it. I'm on New Game Plus because that's how fun it is. And then I've been playing a lot of Far Cry, obviously Far Cry 6. I've been jumping into that like crazy. And then I've been playing some Warzone, obviously, Rocket League, all those. But I'm really waiting for Back 4 Blood. I can't wait to play that tonight. I'm gonna be playing it all weekend with friends. And then Riftbreaker right after that is, I think it comes out. Riftbreaker comes out like 2 days after, and again on Game Pass. And Riftbreaker, if you guys don't know, I'm gonna plug this game as much as I can because the developers are great. They're the ones that made Zombie Driver, which was okay. It's a cool game. But then they made a game called
But you played a bunch of it, yeah.
I played a bunch. I loved it. But then they played a game called X-Morph Defense, which I thought was technically impressive, amazing. And I played, I don't know how many hours of that. I love it. But yeah, they're making their new game called Riftbreaker. I think they've progressed as a studio considerably. And I'm really looking forward to that game. And I can't believe it's on Game Pass. I literally was like, oh, I'm going to buy this. And it was like Game Pass day one on PC and Xbox. I was like, you son of a gun, Microsoft. Thank you. So
it's so good. Yeah.
How about you, buddy? What have you been playing?
Let me say first, I got to give a big shout out to Lethal Papa and Happy Bomb for modding the chat and keeping things clean and clear. Like, they're amazing. Lethal's great. I sent him I can't remember which one. I sent him an XNC shirt, I think it was, because he's been busting his butt, like cracking heads and talking to the chat. And then Happy Bomb, of course, has been doing an excellent job of helping produce the show and and do the moderation, which can be tough sometimes because, when we bring up some of these discussions like delay Halo, people can get crazy, but you guys are really good sports. I've been playing, I've been playing Far Cry 6 like crazy. I got to spend the whole weekend playing Forza Horizon 5, which is great. And was there anything else like little I've been playing? I don't think so.
Marvel?
Yeah, I tried out the Goose Game. I spent the whole last weekend playing Marvel Avengers, and I did the main stuff and set it down. I'm so glad I played it.
Battlefield.
And Battlefield. Yeah, I've been playing Battlefield.
I played Battlefield all weekend too. It's great.
Yeah, it's like,
loved it.
I don't know, man. I'm starting to get into the mode where I'll just say, you know what? I'm putting the controller down. And I'm going to go to bed because tomorrow I'll have more energy to play and hang out with the guys. So
I never do that.
Yeah, Zalker, they already know, but tell them where to find you and who you are. I guess where to find you.
Yeah, you guys can find me, of course, on YouTube, Zalker87. I put out, 3 videos a week, like Colt said, like rain, shine, or whatever. I think even like last year, I had I don't know if anybody knows this, but I had like a surgery that like I almost like died basically.
You're notorious, man.
And I still got a video out. I'm just saying, I was stuck
He's laying in a bed like, make a video.
The funny thing is that, so we're friends in real life. Dealer called me while I was in the hospital recovering. And then we were talking. He's like, are you okay? Is everything good? And, because I just had like an emergency surgery. And then Dealer was like kind of quiet. And he's all, you're not getting a video out, are you? Like as a joke. And I literally told him, I was like, it's already done. And I said some words to him. And I was in the hospital bed in the room. We literally laughed for like 5 minutes of how stupid we are. And like the
you popped your stitches.
The nurse came in. She's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I'm fine." I was just laughing with my dumb friend over here. But yeah,
it's funny if you go back and listen to that video, you can hear beep. Beep. No, I'm just kidding. You didn't make it to the hospital, but
yeah.
And I remember on RDX, you got your second COVID shot, and you were starting to get into the window of, oh man, I'm getting the after effects, and you were like, oh my gosh! I think you made it until a half an hour till the shores. You were like, I gotta bank out of here.
Yeah, I warned him. I was like, hey, I'm getting the COVID shot, the second one. I might be a little under the weather, but I told him, I think I'll be all right. And that's the only RDX I missed was that one, because that day when I woke up, it felt like a Mack truck just ran over me. And I was just like, I was like, dealer, man, I can't make it. But I mean, you guys can find me on RDX tomorrow and Tuesdays, and then you can find me in party chats with Colt, talking crap with Gaz and everybody and dealer, and on Twitter at Zalker87, where I don't post a lot, but when I do, it's terrible. So
when you do, sometimes it's messy, and thank goodness for that.
Yeah,
because every once in a while, people like it when we're messy, but you got to do it in moderation because people go crazy. Yeah. But shout out to the chat. You guys are amazing. Thanks so much for checking out the XNC podcast. We are live on YouTube, about ready to close it down, but we'll be on demand on YouTube here. You'll be able to check this out. And we'll also be on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pocket Podcasts. I still don't know what that is. And Apple Podcasts. But it's very cool. If you Google XNC podcast, if you just Google that, it will give you several ways to check out the show. If you, because not everybody can have it running on their phone while they're doing their thing. So if you have it plugged into your earbuds on podcasts, it's really nice. So I'm grateful I'm able to do that for you guys. You're amazing. We're going to take off. I've kept Zalker for over 2 hours. He's got to go have that delicious Greek food and enjoy the rest of his evening. And then I'll see him on Xbox. So you guys have a good night. We're out of here.
Have a good one, everybody. Thank you.